Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there is a form down in the description of this stream right now where you can go ahead and get your question in there. And if you can get it in there now, it'll get answered on the stream today. So make sure that if you want to get your question answered, make sure that you go ahead and you get it down in the form so that we can get it done on the show today. Now, I do want to let you know, if you are watching this on the replay, that there's a lot of different information shared during these live streams because everything that we talk about is a question that a content creator has about something that they're trying to solve, some type of thing that they're dealing with, and they're trying to either figure it out or it's just something that they're trying to solve. So because of that, we add timestamps to these live streams so that if you're watching on the replay, you can just skip through all the different questions, just kind of look for the questions that you want answers for so that you can make sure that you are, able to utilize the information that we share in this live stream. So make sure if you're watching on the replay, if you don't want to just listen to it in the background, just make sure you check the timestamp so you can find the information you need. And with all of that said, I just want to say, what's up, everybody that's hanging out here in the stream today? Welcome to another live stream. So I do have to do a little bit of housekeeping here. So first off, this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, which is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for discovery. TubeBuddy will help you test your thumbnails, where you can you can have your original thumbnail, upload another one, it'll swap them back and forth and let you know which one people respond to best. It's fantastic. In addition to those two things, they have over 90 different tools to help you with your YouTube channel. You can try TubeBuddy for yourself for free down through the link in the description below, or you can just go to tubebuddy.com. This stream is co-brought to you by StreamYard, which is the live streaming software that I use to stream this every single Saturday. And the reason that I use StreamYard is because, hey, what's up, Tom? The reason that I use StreamYard is because it's easy. They do all the heavy lifting for me in the cloud. So in the event that, my stream goes down, I lose internet or anything like that, it holds my stream open so I don't lose the viewers that are hanging out in here. In addition to that, like you can see right up here, it's super easy to add, graphics to the screen and also to bring guests on. So you can bring on a guest in just a few clicks. And with StreamYard, the whole thing that they're trying to do is make it where you can have professional looking live streams without having to worry about any of the tech. That's the idea. So you can try StreamYard at StreamYard.com, or of course I got links to that and a bunch of other helpful things that you can use down in the video description, because as content creators, there's a lot of tools that are available for us, and I've got links to the most important ones down in the video description. So with all that out of the way, I hope everybody's having a fantastic week. Hope you are ready to rock and roll and that you are ready to learn some stuff about YouTube today. So really quick before we get started, Retro the Emperor, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. Jacker Crackers, nice to see you in here. Chantel Hills, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing great. Shark Scrapper, what's up, my man? Tom Nash, hope you're doing fantastic. Charlie Boy, what's going on? Digital Media Guy, what is going on? I hope that you are doing fantastic. Jerry Papandreou, what's up, my man? Hope that you're doing well. Also, Tiffany, nice to see you in here. Homekeeping Channel, nice to see you here as well. Minecraft Things, what is going on? So what we're going to do, if this is your first time joining us, basically our entire process here is we go and we answer YouTube related questions. So right now we just got a handful of questions that'll get us started here that are in this form right now. And basically as our stream progresses, we're just going to, keep pulling questions from this form and, just keep just answer them and answer them until we run out of time. So that's what's going on today. So if you are a regular here and you know pretty much how this is going to go, make sure you give this a thumbs up. If you are not a regular here and you kind of want to reserve that, feel free. But as soon as you hear something where you're like, hey, that's pretty cool, that's helpful, then make sure you do hit that thumbs up. So the very first question that we have today is from Adventures with Time. Adventures with Time. They upload 1 time per week or more. The type of channel is they do watch reviews and collecting strategies. The goal of the channel is to help others and to make extra money and to have some fun. And the question is, to promote my long form videos, is it better to use YouTube's clip function on the publish long form or make an entirely separate short? And how long after the long form is published should I wait to publish the short so as not to compete? So the very first thing, just as a heads up, is when it comes to your video going into the short shelf, keep in mind that when you are putting content into the short shelf, you should be thinking of it more of like, is this content appropriate for the short shelf so that I can create a good experience for people there, so that if they are enjoying my content, YouTube detects that YouTube is more likely to recommend my content without them even having to click through that link. But if you do have that link available because you are, sampling that out, then in that particular case, as long as it's within that time limit and as long as it is, some type of value for that particular video, you can do that at any time. It's not necessarily that you need to do it right after you publish the video. You can do it, months from now. You can do it next week. You can do it the next day. And you don't have to worry about it, really stepping on the video, because keep in mind, when you are publishing long form content and you're publishing shorts, they're going into like different places on YouTube, even though, your short content can show up in some of the other places on YouTube as well. Shorts are typically, going into the short shelf. So because of that, you don't have to really worry about it as much in terms of like stepping on content. But even when it comes to stepping on content, let's say you're doing long form content, some people will reserve publishing, one video after another video, like the next day or something, because they're worried that it's going to negatively impact the originating video. Keep in mind that when it comes to YouTube, the immediate performance of a video doesn't necessarily determine the long-term performance of the video. However, if you do get, that initial, activity happening on that first video and then you publish the other one, it is possible that originating video might go down just a little bit for that moment while that, first one is taking over some of that fresh content that they're trying to show to the viewers that would be most likely to enjoy that. However, long term, it's not gonna matter. So because of that, don't restrict yourself because of that. Just keep in mind that when it does come to shorts, though, that they are going into a different place on the platform. If you are just joining us, the questions, I'm pulling the questions from the form that is down in the description below. It's free to put your questions in there. So feel free to hit the description, go to the form that is it's somewhere near the bottom, and put your information in there, and we'll try to get it answered on the show here today. So next up on our list here, we've got, let's see, we've got Orange Game. Orange Game does bi-weekly content. They do gaming content. The goal is to create a community and to have a side income. And the question is, hey, Nick, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you also. Says, my question is, how do I increase my audience retention? Right now, on most of my videos, it's about 40%. The videos are in the range of 3 to 5 minutes. Most of these videos are guides or discussions. So things that can impact your audience retention, of course, is, your ability to tell a story, your ability to hook people when your video first starts, what it is that people are seeing and hearing and feeling when they're watching your video. So for example, if you start your video and you just start talking, randomly about, whatever it is that you're going to talk about, but you're not really thinking of, okay, like how can I confirm to the viewer that they clicked on the right thing? Or how can I kind of start this off in a way to where it's going to support what it is that I did with my thumbnail and title? When you start thinking of it in that way, then what happens is you can start, crafting the video around it. Let me back up a little bit. So in order to do this, you should be doing what, all of the big content creators do, which is make your videos and or not your videos, but your thumbnails and your titles before you make the actual video content itself, or at least sketch out the idea that you have for it, as long as your content type supports it. But the idea is when you do that, when you're making the actual video itself, you have those things to reference. And when you have those things to reference, then you can ensure that when somebody clicks on the video, that you're able to capture their attention and pull them into the video even more. And then the longer you can hold them in that first initial part of the video, the more likely they are to commit to more of the video that they're watching. But, a lot of that's going to come down to your storytelling. It's going to come down to, and even in the 3 to 5 minute videos, it's going to come down to like the usage of like pattern interrupts, where you're kind of distracting people from the monotony of a video. In addition to that, you also have using graphics and B-roll and things like that as a means to just keep what they're seeing or experiencing in your content, to keep it interesting as they're going through it. So I would just experiment with those types of things. And one thing that you'll be able to see an impact on the fastest is if you are somebody that is making the video first, and then you're trying to like pigeonhole a title into it, and you're trying to pigeonhole a thumbnail into it. If you do kind of swap those things around, you're like, okay, here's my video idea. And since this is my video video idea, how might I package this up in terms of my thumbnail and title? So if I have my idea for the video, then, what would be a great title and a great thumbnail for this? And then go ahead and workshop that and figure that out. And that'll help you make a better video to support what it is that a viewer is going to expect when they click into the content. And when you match that expectation, you're increasing the likelihood of somebody watching for a longer period of time. So just keep that in mind. So, hey, Ron, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. So let's see here. Peyton Sound.
Super chat.
Thanks for the super chat. Says, exciting times for 2023. What have you heard about this AI app called ChatGPT? Thanks for asking that question. So with ChatGPT, it's pretty incredible in terms of all the different things that that you can do with it. I've spent considerable amount of time with it, just kind of having it spit out like scripts, having it spit out video ideas, having it spit out content strategy for different types of channels, and just kind of seeing what it was capable of. And it's pretty incredible. And I think that, hey, we got Jevin Dovey in the house. Do I see? Hey, Jevin, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing fantastic. Hey, everybody, really quick, since Jevin is in here, and I'll get back to your question right here in a second, Peyton Sound. Since Jevin is in here, he has a bunch of content on his channel about YouTube and YouTubers. He even has a course that helps content creators, with all the different things that you deal with as a content creator. Make sure that you check him out. You go subscribe to his YouTube channel, for his YouTube related information. He also does like drones and filmmaking and a bunch of other really cool stuff. He's amazing at storytelling. He's got a a vlog for that. But definitely make sure that you check him out. What's up, Jevin, man? I hope you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in here. But yeah, when it comes to ChatGPT though, it's incredible. Like my opinion on that, not just for content creators, but just in general, I think that, where artificial intelligence is right now, I mean, it's kind of been this way, but it's just kind of came on everybody's radar. I know like at my very first vid summit that I went to, he had people on stage there, Ricky Ray Butler talking about, what was coming with AI and how they were working with AI and all of that stuff. And by the way, those are the people that own TubeBuddy also. So like when it comes to, like the AI stuff, a lot of people are just kind of catching on now, but it's been around for a while, but now it's just becoming a lot more accessible. That's why you're seeing it pop up in all these apps. That's why you're seeing, the ChatGPT by itself. But in addition to that, there's other tools that are popping up for this as well. So for example, I mentioned in my news segment yesterday that TubeSpanner, which is the world's first and only, as of right now, the world's first and only dedicated script writing tool. And the cool thing about that is think of it like ChatGPT, or GPT, but instead of it being to where you say, write a, video about this, and then it just spits out the video. And then if you want it to, make a change, then you have to like figure out how to say how to tell it the right things, or you just have to, have it write like a whole new thing for you. The thing that TubeSpanner made is awesome because what that is, and I talked about this more in my news segment yesterday, so you can, check that out. But basically the cool thing there is it does like a similar thing. So basically you put in your title and then it gives you like, a script, and then you can go in and you can say, okay, so it just gives me this little bit of starting information for the script. So then now I just have to hit this expand option, and then it'll just flush out all of this additional information for just that one section. So then you can sit there for all the different sections. Let's say you have like the body of your video, or like, different parts of the body of the video, or different talking points. And then you have like your intro, you have your, outro, whatever. You can just tell it like, do more of this particular part, and then it isolates to that part, and then it expands your script out from there so that you can keep the parts you like. You can, redo the parts that you don't like. It's really incredible. So I definitely recommend everybody check out TubeSpanner. I've been talking about TubeSpanner for a long time, just because, they have a notepad tool. It's an awesome browser extension as well. And for those of you, because I think so far, I think there's been over like 300 and something people that created an account over there from the news thing yesterday. So for those of you that did create an account over there yesterday, keep in mind that you do have that browser extension also. So make sure that you do put that in, because that's another, part of the tool, and it adds a whole bunch of functionality to what it is that you're doing on YouTube. But thanks for asking this question, because it gave me an opportunity to talk about that. But I personally believe with all this AI stuff, I really believe that like what we're dealing with right now is kind of like what we dealt with back in the day when like the internet first was becoming popular, and when like smartphones were becoming popular, to where it's like all of a sudden it starts kind of coming on everybody's radar, and then like next thing you know, like everything is different. So so that's that's the way that I'm looking at it right now, and I'm expecting a lot of really awesome stuff to come out of it, and I'm expecting a lot of unfortunate things to come out of it as well, in terms of possibly it taking, work away from some people and, things like that. Because right now, like the technology for that, it's just at the tip of the iceberg. So if you imagine that like a few years down the road, like it's going to be absolutely ridiculous, but I'm excited for it, because it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, this is like a whole other, adventure we get to go on, with technology. So I'm like, I'm really looking forward to, seeing, how everything unfolds. The Gaming Shelf says, hey, Nick, this year I took the leap of a full-time creator. Your advice has been critical to my growth. Thank you. First off, high five and fist bump to you for, taking that leap. Congratulations for, going full-time on YouTube. Love seeing that. And awesome to hear that, you're taking the advice, you're running with it, that you're doing the thing. So high five and fist bump to you for doing that. So next up on our list here, we're hopping back into the forum as I'm like slowly, hey, Amy, hope you're doing great. As I'm slowly kind of getting into my groove here. So next up, we have the Creator Classroom. Creator Classroom does YouTube content for content creators that are wanting to learn Canva. So, a lot of really cool stuff over there about like how to make thumbnails, things like that using Canva. But anyway, the question is, on my other channel, there's a video that is taking off. The positive of that meant that I finally hit the elusive 1,000 mark and was approved for the YouTube Partner Program. However, lately we've received some less than kind responses in the comments. Is there a way to hold all comments for review for an individual video instead of on a channel level? And then it says, find D's play button. Love it. Okay, so when it comes to the less than kind responses that you get on videos, there's something that we all have access to in our YouTube settings. It's called a blocked words list. So you can find this on a mobile device. You can also find this on your desktop computer. And what it is where you can put in certain words. They're just triggers, essentially, is what they are. So you just put in like if people are saying bad things or things that you're like, hey, I just don't want that showing up in my comment section, then what you can do is you can take certain words from the things that people are saying and you can add those to your comment section or not your comment section, to your blocked words list. And then YouTube will automatically hide those. So because of that, it kind of, think of it kind of like comment automation in a way, to where it will take those comments that are inappropriate or they're just rude or they're attacking you in some way, and it will just automatically hide them from public view. And then in order for them to actually show up on your channel, you have to go into your held for review area in your comment section, and then you have to approve those for public view. So so that would be the approach that I would take there, because as of right now, technically you could turn off the comments for that video, but I'm sure you want the other, positive comments. And I would just leave it, I would just, leave it up, and I would just basically use this as an opportunity to really flush out and fine tune your blocked words list so that you can kind of limit that whole thing, as a, at the channel level. Because then that way it puts you there to where you don't even have to, you don't have to do it. And you even see here, I keep having to add to it often on a daily basis. Yeah, there will come a time to where you'll be like, okay, I'm not having to do this as much. Like my blocked words list is pretty, intense also. So there will come a time where you'll be like, hey, I've got this, mostly covered. But some stuff is always going to get through. And it's unfortunate, as content creators, like it's really unfortunate for us that, when it comes to YouTube and like all this stuff, it's interesting. I was having this conversation with somebody like 2 days ago. It's interesting how when you are going through your comment section, right? How you're like, people are like, hey, this is great, good video. Or they'll leave some, big long comment about something. And they're like, hey, this is good, this is great, awesome, high five, whatever. And then you have that like one comment out of like this big batch of like, really positive comments. You get that one comment where the person says something that's like a little bit off, and you're like, right? And then you end up like carrying that around, and you're like, oh man. And like, for whatever reason, like that one becomes the focus of, the comment section. So another side of that is I recommend that like when you do get those negative comments like that, that you just remember that, and that you're like, you know what? I'm doing this for the people that are actually, like enjoying the content. I'm not doing this for the people that are just completely negging out or that are attacking me or that are being rude. I'm doing this for the people that, that I'm helping. And then everybody else, whatever, they can go watch somebody else, right? So, so I recommend that you, just remember, that kind of stuff too. Tinkerman Mick, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Says, hope you're doing well, Nick. About to hit 300,000 subscribers, and your channel is still my go-to for advice. High five, fist bump to you. Congratulations on 300K. That's fantastic. Absolutely love seeing that. Love watching everybody grow. It's awesome. Absolutely love it. So let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got... Let's see here. We got her taken care of. So let's go to samples and tests. You know what? I think I might have skipped one. Let me make sure. Nope, Creator Classroom. Okay. So next up on our list here, we've got samples and tests. Samples and Test uploads one time per week or more. They do variety content. The goal of the channel is to learn the processes of YouTube and eventually make some money. And the question is, YouTube announced that there would be a lower barrier to entry for a fan-funded only option for YouTube Partner Program, but I can't find any info on what those barriers will be. Have you heard anything, or do you have a wild guess on what it could be? By the way, I believe you have a typo in the form. You wrote may instead of made when mentioning the creator mix service. Hey, thanks for the heads up there. I appreciate that. I'll definitely get that typo. I'll definitely get that typo sorted. Like, I'm sitting here like shy right now, like, oh my gosh, can't believe I made a typo over there. Yeah, I'll definitely get that sorted. So thanks for the heads up on that. But in terms of them lowering that, I'm not sure about that. Like, I haven't seen anything about that personally, so I'm not sure exactly, what changes, or if they are going to be lowering that threshold. I just haven't seen it. It just hasn't popped up on my radar yet. Doesn't mean that information's not out there. It just hasn't popped up on my radar yet. So because of that. You know what? This is so funny. I've had that text in there. I'm fixing it right now. I've had that text in there for a really long time, and this is the first time anybody said anything about it. So thank you so much. I just got it fixed up. But basically, yeah, them lowering those requirements, that's something that, that's new to me. But one thing that I do want to remind everybody about, and I mentioned this in my news segment yesterday, and by the way, everybody, make sure that you do check in with those news segments on Friday, because I share, the information that's happening on YouTube that impacts you as a content creator. I keep you up to date on the features that are coming out, that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I made sure to mention yesterday, and I'll make sure to mention here really quick before we get on with more questions, is that you have probably gotten an email already, or you've seen it pop up inside of your Creator Studio, where you need to accept, for those of you in the partner program, where you need to accept the new rules of the partner program, the new terms. So just make sure you go through that process before February 1st if you are doing YouTube Shorts, because starting on February 1st, everybody's going to start being able to monetize YouTube Shorts as long as you've met the requirements for the YouTube Partner Program. So because of that, just make sure that you do go ahead and get that paperwork, or not paperwork, but you just go through the process of getting that set up. I think Doug Hewson, who's in here right now, he's in the chat. Just look for Doug Hewson YT. I think he actually has a video out, or one that's going to be coming out, on how to actually, go through that process. It's really intuitive. You just kind of go through. It's just kind of like a wizard, to where it's like, do this, agree to this. But his video, he has that to where, if it's out already, then you'll be able to, utilize that just for that step-by-step, so you can at least know what to expect. But one more thing that I do want to let you know is, I'm not sure if today it's been updated or not, but yesterday it was also mentioned that particular set of information, in terms of that popping up in your Creator Studio, it hadn't went out to everybody yet. So if you don't see it in there yet, like, don't panic, don't worry about it. Like, you're not being left in the dust or anything like that. But if you are in the partner program, if you don't see that alert in there now, you will have it. You will have it soon. It will pop up in there if you're in the YouTube partner program. Oh, hey, and really quick, Renee Ritchie's in the house. What's up, dude? He says, no specifics yet, but stay tuned. In reference, I believe that's in reference to the threshold on the channel memberships. Thanks for the clarity there, man. I appreciate it. Speak English, but this guy says, I hit 12,000 yesterday. Congratulations, Mick, for the 300,000. So high five and fist bump to you for that, for hitting 12,000. Love seeing those milestones come in. It's so awesome, because it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, people are like doing the thing. I absolutely love it. So we started, well, we didn't start it. Somebody else started it, but I've been going to them. We have this YouTube meetup here locally now that's popped up here for the last couple of weeks. And it's really refreshing, going over there and hanging out with other content creators creators. I recommend everybody here, like if you don't have something like that happening in your area, you might be the person that wants to organize that, or just kind of look around, see if something like that is going on, because it's so refreshing to just be able to sit down over, you know, like a table over like dinner or, you know, lunch or something with like a bunch of other content creators and just kind of brainstorm on stuff and just talk about, you know, what it is that you're going through. Because one of the things that that has popped up a lot over the 2 weeks that we've been doing that is the loneliness side of YouTube. Because, you know, when it comes to being a content creator, unless you're making videos with other people, unless you have like a team of people that are like helping you do it, or unless you have other content creators that you're working with for your videos or something like that, like it's pretty, you know, lonesome experience. So, you know, if you are feeling that, then, you know, you might be the person that, you know, that should organize an event like that so that you can, you know, kind of help relieve yourself of that and help other content creators relieve themselves of that too. So I just wanted to share that, you know, with you if you are, you know, somebody that does have those feelings of like, hey, this is a pretty isolating, you know, thing, just being in here, you know, cranking out these videos. So I just wanted to share that really quick. So we're going to get back to the forum here in just a second, but really quick, Fable Beard Company says, just want to show our continued support. Thank you, my liege. Hey, my pleasure. Thank you. Glad that you are enjoying the content. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. And then I saw one more here. There we go, from Nate the Lawyer. And Nate the Lawyer says, I've been watching Nick since 100 subs. I still watch and support the tips work. Question, making money off YouTube. What would be a good percentage of money made through AdSense and off YouTube? 50-50, 70-30? It really depends, and that swings so much. So like some people, they'll have like 5% of their income in ad revenue. Other people will have 100% of their income in ad revenue, or 80% in ad revenue. So it's a really heavy swing. So it really depends on what all it is that you are offering and your strategy for putting everything together. So like, for example, if you're promoting things like as an affiliate and you're doing a bunch of recurring things, then those are really easy to balloon out, and you can, you know, quickly surpass your ad revenue, of course, depending on the amount of views that you're getting. Also, within that, you also have, even on platform monetization, where some content creators, just based on the nature of their content, they make a lot more ad money than other content creators just based on the subject matter or who it is that's watching their videos. So, you know, because of that, it just swings so much. So what I recommend is that, like, for you, you know, and this is for everybody here, just individually, is I recommend that you look at what it is that you're getting from YouTube, but then you also explore, like, okay, what else can I do to make money from the efforts that I'm putting into YouTube? And, you know, the common ways are through affiliate marketing, through creating your own products or services that can be digital or physical, you know, doing merch through like Spreadshop or something like that, you know, where you're selling like shirts and, you know, mugs and that kind of stuff for your audience. Let's see here, crowdfunding, which is kind of like channel membership. So if you're in the partner program, then you can just go ahead and do that on YouTube. But if you're not, then, you know, setting up like a Patreon account or, you know, something like that is another thing that people will do, or even like a Buy Me a Coffee account. But, you know, those types of things, just looking at it like, okay, what is it that I can do? And one of the videos that I have on my YouTube channel is called How to Start a YouTube channel to make money, I think is the title. It's something along those lines. But basically in that particular video, I go through the process. There's like a downloadable spreadsheet. It's actually not downloadable. It's a Google sheet that you go to. But basically, in that particular video, it goes through the process of like explaining, like, okay, you know, first figure out the niche that you're operating in or the niches you want to operate in. And then from there, you want to go and research the other channels. And then I have very specific information in there about what it is you want to be looking at and how you want to try to figure out how it is that they're monetizing. And then basically you start putting all that together, and then it starts to paint a picture of how like a certain niche is monetizing, you know, the content that they have out there. And then from there, you're like, okay, this is something I'd be willing to do. I think this would be a good fit for my audience. I think this would be a good fit for my audience. So, you know, there's a lot of different options for you. But one thing that I didn't mention, you know, because we do have, you know, some larger channels in here too. And by larger, I just mean, you know, people that have, you know, like 5,000, 10,000 subscribers and up. But like when it comes to sponsorships, that's another way that a lot of content creators monetize. You know, some people are like weird about sponsorships. Other people just fully embrace, you know, what sponsorships are. So it just comes down to you, your audience, the type of content and all of that. But I would definitely, you know, consider that as one of the, you know, arms of monetization as well. Let's see here. So next up on the list here, we've got Going Crazy in the Kitchen. Says, my channel has lately been stable. Get some recommendations from YouTube, around 200 for every long format, slowly growing from shorts. Can I relax? Yeah. So when it comes to YouTube, it's really easy to get caught up in, how fast everything's moving and like exactly what's happening because, as people, like we all want everything to, happen as quickly as possible. And we want to, just kind of, hurry up and do the thing. Right. So the fact that you're, heading in the right direction is definitely, a win. But, there's always places where we can improve, as content creators. I mean, with everything that we do, So because of that, absolutely relax. Like you should be relaxed anyway. You should be having fun with this and you should be looking at it like, hey, this is like a fun way that I can connect with other people. This can also be like a huge opportunity. I can use this not only to connect with other people, but also to impact other people and things like that. But, relax. And that makes the whole thing a lot more fun. But definitely look at it and think to yourself like, okay, so over the next, 30 days, what's something that I can work on, or what's like 2 things that I can work on to really like deeply understand something or to really start leveling up my skill sets so that I can just keep learning how to just make better and better content for the people that I'm serving with my content. And when you take that approach, even though you're relaxed, when you're taking that approach, then you ensure that every single month that goes by, or, you can do that weekly depending on how much time you have. But basically the idea is to ensure that every month that goes by, every week that goes by, you're doing the things that will help you level up. Because when it comes to YouTube, you have, just uploading videos. And then you have the side of like, okay, I'm uploading videos. I'm trying to understand my analytics. I'm trying to fine tune the experience that the viewers are having with my content. And I'm trying to get my content not just to a competitive level to where it's good enough, but I'm also trying to, get it past that. So I can just like really create something awesome for people. And, when you're first getting started, the path from here to here, it might seem like it's a pretty steep learning curve and a pretty steep path. But, I can tell you if you're just like, hey, I'm just going to focus on not necessarily, looking for, like shortcuts that I can take. And I'm not saying you're taking shortcuts, but I'm just saying, in case there's somebody in here that is, instead of looking at it like, how can I take a shortcut and how can I, just try to bypass this the work and actually, how can I bypass the work, but then get, the results out of it? Just focus on the work actually. And by doing that, you'll end up in a much better spot because the understanding that you'll have for how all of these platforms work, because it's pretty, similar in terms of everything comes down to your viewer experience and the value that you're adding through the content that you have. But basically, it'll give you a really deep understanding of how the platform works, and the skill sets that you're going to develop are also things that you can use for your YouTube channel, but also things that you can use for, or other skills that you can use for other things as well. Some people, they'll start out just making content, but then through the skills that they'll develop, they'll start offering like services to people and things like that. And the next thing you know, they have like a video editing company or like a thumbnail making company or, like a whole like channel management company or like whatever the thing is. So because of that, there's tons of opportunity here and you can absolutely relax and enjoy the process. But I definitely recommend continuing to go through the process and just looking at it like, hey, I'm enjoying this. I'm having a good time. I'm heading in the right direction in terms of like, I'm getting just, my results. Either they're cruising up quickly or, I'm just taking that one foot in front of the other and I'm just slowly, heading in the right direction. As long as you're heading in that right direction, if it's fast or slow, then you're making that progress, right? So from there, you're getting that progress. You just have to fine tune things to try to, speed things up the best that you can. Tinkerman Mick again says, I noticed something about the new agreement about not earning on the search page. Does this mean views from search are no longer going to be monetized? I didn't notice that. So I've read through, everything and I actually didn't see that. So I'm definitely, if you could, cause we're connected on Facebook, Mick, if you could send me a screenshot of that, man, just because I would love to see exactly where that is. And then I can actually just kind of go back and forth with you on that, on Facebook. Cause I didn't see that. I didn't see that part in there. So hopefully that is not the case. But definitely send me that screenshot, just because I would love to see exactly where that is, or just send me a link, to the page where you found that, because I would like to see where that is, because I didn't see that in any of my, in any of the stuff that I was looking at with their updates. Tube Spanner, what's up, Danielle? Says, I did a video about all 25 letters of the alphabet, but all the comments say I made a mistake. I don't know why. Got it. Again, don't know why. The Y, the letter, the alphabet. Got it. Yep. I think the let's see here. What was the one you did on watch time? Yeah, I can't remember the watch time, but there was I think it was a watch time one that was pretty good too. But yeah, I get it there. I get it there on the don't know why. Always jokes. Hey, Janice Byrne, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Welcome to the Nimminati first.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
But I do want to let you know, when you get the chance, go to nimminvip.com. That's our members-only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in. If you can do that before the stream's over today, I can get you in there as soon as the stream is complete. But basically, our Facebook group is where we do like our members live streams and stuff like that. Awesome community over there, great people over there. So so definitely make sure that you do go through that process. As a content creator, I know some people are like weird about like, hey, I don't want to connect my like personal Facebook or whatever because I like to be behind the channel instead. That's totally fine. I have the page set up where you can actually join it as a page, so you can remain like anonymous if you would like to. Just make sure that you do fill out all the information though on the way in, just so that I can connect that it's your channel to to the group before I let you in. H20 Bug says, I'm new to YouTube. How do you feel about shorts for new YouTubers? I think they're fantastic, and I'll tell you why. So first off, before we get into why, I just want to say welcome to the creator side, of YouTube. I want to let you know that, there's a lot of people that start YouTube, and there's a lot of people that, get a lot of awesome things from YouTube and a lot of awesome connections. And, some people make a lot of friends through YouTube and things like that. And there's also the people that, will start a YouTube channel and then they will kind of go through a little bit of the learning curve, and then they'll just kind of give up because, it's a, little bit of work, and then, they'll kind of miss out on all the awesome stuff at YouTube. So, so because of that, I just wanted to encourage you to embrace the learning curve. If you embrace the learning curve, focus on developing your skill set and understanding how the platform works. If you do those two things, then you're going to do fine. But keep in mind, depending on the experience that you have when you come onto the platform, some of that may require more work than others. So for example, if you've never designed anything before, then in that case, the thumbnails might be the thing that you need to, work on quite a bit there. If you've never had to, try to write something that would compel someone to do something, then in that case, that's a whole other skill set, that you got to work on. So, you see these clues all over YouTube, so you can kind of model what works already, but just, focus on the skill development side of things. And if you can focus on that and just improving the skill set, you'll do awesome over time. But in terms of how I feel about shorts for new YouTubers, I think shorts are fantastic for new YouTubers, and here's why. So when it comes to YouTube, when you're uploading long form content, or let's say you're even live streaming, when you're doing either of those things, one of the got a weird thing in my back here. One of the things that happens is there's this one little layer of a barrier between you and a potential viewer, and that layer is your thumbnail and title. So basically, when you upload a long form piece of content, or you start a live stream, then in order for someone to participate in what it is that you have created, then they have to make the conscious decision to click on your thumbnail or title. However, when it comes to YouTube Shorts, then in that particular case, you just have to focus on making really good videos and coming up with interesting topics. And then if you do that, then when somebody slides up on their phone, then your video is going to be right there. They don't have to make the conscious choice to click on what it is that you've made. All they have to do is just see, how you're grabbing their attention right there and pulling them into the content. And then you get to take them on that ride of that experience through your video. So when it comes to hey, I'm just coming onto the platform, I'm just getting started, I think shorts are a fantastic choice for that, because, it removes that one, I'm not going to call it a barrier, but, it kind of is, because, it's hard to get people to click on stuff. So because, especially when you're competing with so much good stuff, on YouTube. So because of that, it's just one of those things to where it's hey, this is a great place to where while I'm, working on my skill set on the video side, that I can, just kind of pop up in somebody's feed, and this gives me the opportunity to work on my hooks and really dial in how I'm doing my thing either on camera or whatever video content it is that you're making, that will teach you to be able to do it in a more impactful way as a new content creator. And then while you're doing all of those, that's where you're okay, so I'm in motion right now, right? I'm publishing these shorts on a regular basis. I'm in motion. I'm doing the thing. However, while I'm doing the thing, I'm also going to be studying YouTube, and I'm going to be studying how people are making thumbnails. I'm going to be watching videos on making thumbnails. I'm going to be watching videos on how to make compelling videos and how to keep people watching longer and those sorts of things. And then, like, if you want to watch videos on like how to keep people watching longer, watch some of Ed's over at Film Booth. Watch some of his content, because like his content is like super like high level in terms of like the energy and the work that goes into it. But you can learn a ton, not just from listening to what he's doing, but also watching what it is that he's doing. So if you want to learn how to tell better stories, you want to learn that part of things, I definitely recommend that you check him out. But anyway, while you're doing the shorts, just going and watching videos on those other things and then practicing those other things. Like, hey, let me just sit down and let me find, a way that I can make thumbnails. And I'm going to just sit here and I'm going to, just work on some thumbnails and see if I can get something, that would be something that I think people would click on. And as you're doing that, for those of you that are new to this and you're trying to kind of get that foothold, what you do in that case is you say, okay, as I'm putting my thumbnail together, the job of a thumbnail is not to demonstrate your art skills, right? The job of the thumbnail is to grab somebody's attention and to help people identify that your content might be something that they're interested in. That's like level 1. And then from there, if you can add something that's compelling to your thumbnail, then that would be like level 2. And then within that, you also have, your title that you write. So what you need to do is when you're practicing putting together good thumbnails and when you're practicing writing good titles, what you want to do, even though you're using shorts, right? Like where you're practicing and you're kind of getting, your skill sets up, is every single time you make a thumbnail, think to yourself, okay, what about this thumbnail for the people that I'm trying to reach with the type of content that I make? What about this thumbnail would help the people that I'm trying to reach identify that this thumbnail has something to do with something that they happen to be interested in? Like, what about it? And the reason you want to think about that is because if somebody's sitting there on their phone, which is where, majority of the traffic is on YouTube, and they're sitting there and they're scrolling through, on YouTube's homepage, and here, I'll just open it up and do it real quick. So they're sitting there and they're just scrolling through, right, YouTube's homepage. What's going to happen is they're going to see, oops, sorry, I just clicked into somebody's video there. Sorry for the watch time hit there, when I just clicked out of that. But basically, like as they are, sitting there scrolling, something in your image for the people that you're trying to reach is going to help them identify that like, oh, wait, what is this? This is something that, that I'm interested in, something that I care about. So I'm going to, either start watching the autoplay or I'm just going to click into this and see what's going on. Of course, often they'll just drop down to the title also because that's a part of the package as well. So you have to do the same exact thing with your title. And you have to think to yourself, okay, if the people that I'm trying to reach were to have their attention grabbed by this thumbnail that I made, and then their eyes drop down to the title, from there, what about my title is going to, inform them about what's going on? Or what about my title is going to be compelling for those people? Like, what about this would make them want to click? And if you start thinking in that way and you start thinking, okay, what about this is going to help them identify it and what would get them to click on the thumbnail? And what about this title? It would help them identify it's something they care about and or that would compel them to click. And you start thinking that way, then instead of just making a thumbnail to support the video, there's going to be a lot more intention behind it. And you're going to be thinking through, essentially, you're going to be workshopping in your own brain how to get the people that you're trying to reach to respond to what it is that you're doing at the click level. So every time you make a thumbnail and title, just make sure that you're thinking of those things. But to kind of sum up your question though, when it comes to YouTube Shorts for a new content creator, yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. In fact, Tinkerman Mick, who he just dropped a super chat a little bit ago, mentioned that he crossed 300,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He's just a few comments up higher than yours. One of the things that he strongly has leveraged is YouTube Shorts on his channel as well. So in terms of that being a great fit for somebody that's coming in and they're just like, hey, I've got a little bit of time, right? Because then that way you don't have to waste a bunch of time on these long form videos that, I mean, you still want to do that as long as it fits into your goals. But basically, like when it comes to the long form content, that's a whole other thing within itself, because when it comes to YouTube Shorts, getting somebody to watch 60 seconds is a totally different game than getting somebody to watch for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, right? So because of that, it's a great place to start to kind of get in motion and to also see results from what it is that you're doing, and to quickly and easily be able to start fine tuning what it is that you're doing, just because it's much easier to make a 60-second piece of content than it is to make a similar piece of content that's 10 minutes, right? So because of that, it's a fantastic place to get started. Let's see here. So the Electric Beard says, been following you for years, using yours and some others' advice and continued experience. Less than 5K from 100,000. Awesome. Thanks for all the advice. High five and fist bump to you for that. Crushing. Absolutely love that. Says, yeah, 5,000 away from 100,000. So you're at 95,000 subscribers. Love it. Love it. Gonna get, this is for all the milestones that have come in today. And as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna play it right now. Maybe we'll play it later. I got a whole song that I play for like mass celebration stuff. So here's Mo. Says, you and your bro have brought so much value over the years. Do you have any advice on how do you beat procrastination when it comes to making videos? I'm just going to be transparent with you. I'm quite the procrastinator myself. It might not look like it from the outside, but I procrastinate quite a bit myself. So when it comes to beating procrastination, when it comes to making videos, though, it's a totally different thing. So like when it comes to making videos and procrastinating around that, that's different for me. So like everything else that I do around like my channel, I procrastinate pretty heavily on it. But when it comes to like making video content with that, it's usually not procrastination. It's just like, where does, the time fit in? But one thing that I recommend in terms of beating the procrastination on the making the videos, though, is coming up with like a why, right? So my why is, you see those comments that have come in, like we got, Electric Beard, we have Tinkerman Mick, we've had a few other people or a couple of other people, that have come in here and they've mentioned like, hey, watching your videos, it's been helpful essentially, right? For their milestones. And for me, that's like when I'm like feeling lazy and I'm feeling like, yeah, you know what, I'm just not, kind of vibing with it today. For me, I kind of lean on those things because I'm like, man, if I don't make these videos, then that might be somebody that I didn't have the opportunity to reach. In fact, when I was at Vid Summit this year, I was having a conversation with somebody and they were talking about how basically they, were thinking about starting a YouTube channel, and they ended up starting the YouTube channel, and they ended up, watching one of my videos, and that particular video like caused something to click for them. And when they watched that particular video, from that point forward, they started taking a different approach to their YouTube channel. And then now they're like full-time on YouTube. They got a bunch of subscribers. They're like doing the thing. And one of the things that they mentioned was, and this stuck with me, and I'm never going to forget this. So one of the things they mentioned is they said, because you chose to make a video that day, it, like they had, all of that because it kind of helped that click for them. So, that was just one of those things to where it's like, you know what I mean? So like for me, when I'm, when I'm feeling that way, when it comes to making video content, like those are the things that I think about, and that kind of helps me go, and helps me kind of, keep pushing there. But like in your case, what you want to think about is you just want to think about, with whatever type of content it is that you're making, if you're doing entertainment content and the value that people are getting is that you're giving them the opportunity to like escape from their daily life for a little bit and, just enjoy that, time with you through how you entertain them. Or if you are teaching people something and you're helping them, better understand something so they can improve, whatever aspect of whatever it is that they're doing, then that's a different type of value. If you're making, let's say, even like faceless, like motivational videos, then in that case, getting people fired up and keeping people like on the right path and keeping them focused, things like that, that's the value that they get out of that. So just thinking about the value that you're adding to people and thinking about like, okay, with every video that I make, not only can it benefit me, but like a lot of times when we're thinking only of ourselves, it can be really easy to be like, you know what, but I'll be fine. What's another day, right? When it comes to procrastination. So when you start thinking of it like, okay, this is going to be cool for me, but like I'm also, helping people escape through my entertainment or get them fired up through my motivation or whatever type of content it is that you do, Mo. So just start, trying to find that why in terms of like, why is it that I'm doing this? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And when you start thinking that way and you start thinking also of like, okay, what is it that I'm trying to do? And you set really strong goals around your YouTube channel that are not just based on views and subscribers, but also based on like the potential impact that you're making or based on, anything else that you're trying to accomplish, with your YouTube channel. But when you have those clear goals, then it also gives you something to go after. So, like those days where you're like, I'm just not, like really feeling it today. I'll just kind of do it tomorrow. For those days when you have that goal and you put it somewhere, right? Like put it on a notepad somewhere. If you have to put it in a frame and put it on your wall, whatever that goal happens to be for like your main big picture primary goal, then in that case, put it somewhere where you see it every day. So then when you're sitting there and you're just kind of feeling a little bit lazy and you kind of want to push it off, then just see that and be like, you know what? I am trying to accomplish something here. So every day that I don't do the thing, I had this conversation with somebody else this morning. So every day that I'm not doing the thing is that like one more day that not only am I not moving in the direction that I want to move with my life, but I'm also, you know, kind of missing the opportunities that are out there because, you know, every video that I don't make is a video that somebody else can make that they can actually capture some of the audience that I'm going after as well. So, so hopefully, I know that's like a little bit long-winded, but hopefully, you know, that helps in some way. But procrastination's no joke. You know, it's definitely, you know, something that just as humans, you know, we have to deal with. It's even more so, you know, if you are somebody that has, and I'm not saying you know, have this, but, you know, for people that have like, you know, ADHD and things like that, you know, like, you know, it's no joke. So, you know, because of that, you have to kind of find those little hacks that you can do for yourself in your own mind that will just kind of make you do the thing. You know, one kind of frame with this that I like is how people talk about the importance of discipline over motivation, and thinking of motivation like like your motivation is what kickstarts your discipline, right? So it's like you just need just a tiny bit of motivation just to start being in motion, and then once you're in motion, then your discipline can take over, right? So the way what that looks like is like, let's say, you know, for those people that are thinking of starting a YouTube channel, like my friend that I was talking to this morning. He's wanting to start a YouTube channel for years, but he hasn't done it. But now he's to that point where he's like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. And one of the things that I was telling him is I was like, man, you've been thinking about this for years, right? So like you have to get in motion, even if that means that, you know, things aren't up to par the way that you think they are, or like the things aren't going to look the way that you know, think they should look. It's way more important to get in motion and start doing the thing, because that's how you get to where it is that you're trying to go. But if you just keep sitting back here and planning and thinking about things and all that, then you're never going to actually get there because you're just stuck in this, you know, planning spot. So you have to get in motion in order to, you know, build momentum, in order to, you know, achieve the things that you're trying to achieve. So again, long-winded, right? Long-winded, but you know, I just wanted to kind of expand on that just a little bit more, just because, you know, those things are, you know, are real problems, you know, and they're real obstacles, so to speak, that we have to overcome. Renee Ritchie says, shorts are like OG YouTube, where almost anyone can start making videos again. It resets the barrier of entry. Absolutely. Like the way that I frame that, like when I'm talking to some of my friends right now and at this YouTube the YouTube meetup that I'm going to, the way that I'm framing shorts right now is like, this is an unprecedented opportunity on YouTube. And it's likely that this opportunity that we see right now with like YouTube shorts and, you know, some of the explosion that people are having on being able to, you know, bring a lot of attention to their channels through YouTube shorts, like it's likely that this moment in time here that we've had over the last, like, you know, 2 years, and that we're going to continue to have here, you know, shortly into the future, like this moment in time right now is unprecedented. And really this moment in time, it's probably not going to happen again when it comes to YouTube, because we've got, you know, wide content, we've got live streaming content, they got podcasts, they've got, you know, the vertical content now, which, you know, when it came out, something completely new, but now the only other way to go is square, which we've already had, or just like diagonal videos, which maybe, but of course, you know, we've got 3D, VR, you know, all that stuff too. But really, in terms of barrier to entry though, like short form content, being able to, you know, just make a video, grab somebody's attention without having to learn how to get them to click on it. Like there's, you know, like we're not going to see this opportunity again. Spike Wade says, I feel pretty stuck. I'm in between making a 1 hour video and a 5 to 10 minute video. Then on the hour video, or sorry, the 1 hour video would be helping a lot of people, but it would take a while. What do you think? I think you should do both. So the reason I think you should do both is work on the 1 hour video, because, you know, if you're going to have that, you know, super long video, you know, just go ahead and work on it. But while you're working on it, for all of the people that wouldn't watch a 1 hour video, make a handful of 5 minute videos for them, and then use the 5 minute videos. This is where this is where content strategy comes into play. You can, I just want to be clear really quick, you can have a thriving, successful YouTube channel with nothing but long form, super long videos. You can do that. However, to make things a little bit easier on yourself, one thing that you can do is just think about, okay, I'm trying to, you know, add value to people. I'm trying to, you know, make this good content for people. And part of that is I feel that I should make, you know, a 1 hour long video. So if that's what you're going to do, also think about it through the lens of, you're asking somebody that has never experienced your content before to spend 1 hour with you, which is okay. I mean, that's a good ask if the content is solid and if it, if it delivers on what they expect when they click on it. However, there's a lot of people that have 5 minutes when they're in the bathroom, or that have 5 minutes while they're drinking coffee or grabbing lunch or waiting on somebody or waiting on a bus or sitting in traffic or whatever the thing is. So for those people, having those like shorter form videos, like a 5-minute video or maybe even a 10-minute video, gives you the opportunity to also get in front of those people, introduce yourself to them through that content. And then when you publish that longer 1 hour video, then you have more people that have already, experienced some of that shorter content that YouTube, as long as they're enjoying that short content, would be more likely to recommend that longer form content too. So, so because of that, I would experiment with both. And you might find through your experimentation, you might find that, making 5 to 10 minute videos, they're just not digging those for whatever reason. But when you publish the 1 hour videos, people are loving them. Or you might find the other way around. You might find that when you publish these 1 hour videos, people just aren't really feeling it. But when you publish the 5 to 10 minute videos, people are like really loving those. So, because of that, when for everybody here that's a new content creator, or even an experienced content creator, it's really important to make sure that you're always open to experimenting with what it is that you're doing, because you can really uncover so much. Like when you're open to saying like here with Spike Wade, how they're like, I'm feeling stuck. I'm like, I want to do this and I'm actually making this, but should I do, some of these too? The answer is try it. Because you might find through those experiments, you might uncover something that will, just lead you in the direction that will, that's exactly where you want to go. So, so because of that, when you have those ideas, definitely experiment with them.
Super chat.
Triathlon with Coach John. What's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. Says 990 subs, 175,000 views. Thanks, Nick D, Roberto, Daniel, and Thonk. Not sure who Thonk is. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Says, what is your thoughts on stitching together like subject posted videos into a super long video? So basically, like if you're saying making like a compilation, then in that particular case, I think compilations are awesome. So as long as you take your YouTube videos and you put together the ones that are having the great response, and you put them together in a way that creates like a really cool experience. Like for example, in your case, like if you were doing like my like if you were sharing like triathlon videos, then it would be like, my favorite water runs or my favorite, sprinting runs or like whatever. And then you start, making compilations like that. Absolutely. That's definitely something that is, not only is it, good to do because it helps you, compile content like that, which makes things easier on you. But it also gives you like a new offering to your audience of, something fresh that they can experience that also gives you the opportunity to kind of highlight some of the other videos. So when you're doing that, you might also want to consider, if you're going to like timestamp them, or you can just put a list down in your video description, just let them know when they're watching the video that you have like each section there to where, you have the links to the actual videos that you've remixed into that video if they want to watch like the full blown, video for each one of those. Let's see here. So H2O Bugs says that, that's a lot of helpful information. Let's say you post a short, it does good, you get a lot of views, then all the views stop coming. Why would that be? So keep in mind with everything on YouTube, like when we publish something, we're not guaranteed like a certain result from what it is that we publish. So because of that, it's really important to just remember that when you publish a video, we don't like, we're not like owed anything, so to speak, because how the system works is YouTube will start showing your video to people that they think that are, the most likely people to enjoy the content on the platform, because YouTube wants to give their users a good experience. And because of that, they're going to show your content to people. However, if those people respond well to your content, that's going to come down to you and how you're putting your content together and how you're packaging it up, right? For the sake of, their expectations. So when you are publishing content and it goes out to that initial group of people, like they might really enjoy it. And then from there, if YouTube detects they're enjoying it, they're going to show it to a broader group of people. And then as they start showing it to more and more people that are not as a perfect fit for that, piece of content, then what can happen is that broader group of people, they just stop responding to it as well as that initial group of people. And when that happens, then the system will start showing it to less people because they'll start prioritizing other content that is higher performing for those audiences. So because of that, like when we publish a piece piece of content. Like, it would be great if, like, you know, you publish a video and then, like, however it does in the first, like, you know, however many hours is just like, you just keep getting those views from, like, you know, every hour from, like, you know, from that day forward. Like, that would be awesome. But you know, because everything on YouTube, everything on, you know, every, you know, social media platform, because it's all based on response and how people respond to the content. You know, as it starts going out to those larger groups of people, if they start responding less, then, you know, it's like the system has to, in order to keep delivering, you know, the content that the viewers want to watch to the viewers, the system has to prioritize the content that is getting the highest performance, based on all the different things that YouTube tracks to gauge performance. So, so because of that, you know, that's why content can just kind of fall off out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. Okay, I think that got him. Your driver, Mike. What's up, man? Let's see here. I'm just doing a quick check, make sure I got all those taken care of. Little Crafty Nook, what's going on? Hope you're doing fantastic. Doug Houston, YT, what's up, dude? So let's see. Okay, so we got those taken care of. So now I'm going to hop back into, actually, Fly444.
Super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. Super, super appreciate it. Thank you for that. So, so I'm hopping back into the forum here. And the forum, for those of you that are just joining us, basically what we're doing is we're talking about YouTube. I'm answering questions that help content creators. So there's a forum down in the description where people are putting in their questions, and basically I'm just going through in the order that they're received, or that, you know, that they come in, and I'm just answering them, you know, as they come in. So our next one here is from Mine, and it's free. Like, you don't have to, there's super chats here, but you don't have to super chat to have your question answered on the forum. This is just something that I do just to, you know, just help out content creators. So, so feel free to get your question in there. And just so you know, just because it goes in the form doesn't mean that it's going to be answered. But if it goes in the form before we run out of time, and if I get to it in the form before we run out of time, it'll get answered. But if we run out of time before I get to, you know, the end of the questions, then I just have to call it, you know, there. So that's why it's always a bonus to show up early, because then, you know, you can ensure that your question gets in there fast. But right now, we don't have a ton of questions. So, so the questions that we have right now, we will get through all these on the stream today. So just as a heads up, if you are, you know, if you do have questions about what it is that's, you know, that you're doing on YouTube. So let's see here, Doug, I see your message there. So I'm clicking into this, and I'm going to go check the stars here. So the Gaming Shelf says, hey, Nick, this year I took the leap as a full-time creator. Okay, yeah, we got that one already. Tinkerman Mick, we got that one also. Let's see here. Okay, so here we go. Sandy Pan Chowdhury says, hey, Nick, I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. He says, hey, Nick, I went from 1,900 to 5,000 subs in 2022, but still not happy. But I want to thank you for all the guidance which helped me. Thank you for the kind words. And when it comes to that, you know, keep in mind that, you know, everybody wants to grow faster. And, you know, the fact that you're like, hey, like, this isn't, you know, like doing the thing for me yet. Like, I want it to do better. Like, you know, just focus all of your efforts on the experience that you're taking viewers through when they're interacting with your content, developing your skill sets, and just like really focusing on thinking through how people might interact with your content, the people that you're trying to reach, how they might interact with your content, so that you can, you know, embrace that when you're making your videos to create, you know, an awesome experience for them that will also add, you know, a lot of value to them. And if you can focus on those things, then, you know, then you're massively increasing, you know, your likelihood of accelerating, you know, what's happening with your content. Deo, what's up, man? Says, thanks for your advice, Nick. We went from 19,000 to 31,000 in 2022. Not sure if being monetized would have helped me grow more, but happy nonetheless. High five, fist bump to you. Nice work. So just as a heads up, so when it comes to channels that are monetized versus channels that are not monetized, so the YouTube algorithm, in terms of the videos that it shows people, it does not take into consideration if those videos that they're showing to people are monetized or not. So it's a completely different system. And because of that, because, you know, YouTube is also showing ads on videos of channels that aren't monetized. So they're actually keeping the bag on that. So like, if it did work in that way, then, you know, it would actually be in YouTube's best interest to actually promote the content for the channels that are not in the partner program, because then they would get the ad money on them. But, you know, it doesn't work that way because, you know, it is two different systems and that information isn't connected. So just as a heads up there. And then Apture Movement says, no question, just saying thank you for the super chat as well. Okay, I think that has us caught up there. I'm just doing a quick scroll to make sure. Freaking awesome says just hit 1,000. High five and fist bump to you. Congratulations for your first 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. And I like saying first because if you can get 1,000, you can get 10,000, you can get 100,000, you can get 1,000,000. It's just filling in the time and adding the value between now and then, right? So nice work on your first 1,000. So the next question that we have here is from Minecraft Things, and they do videos every other day. They have a how-to tutorial channel, or the type of content they do. The goal of the channel is to better their life for their family. And the question is, hey, Nick, I heard making long and short content hurts your channel because of the high number of short subscribers not watching your long-form videos. This is not accurate. So when it comes to like shorts viewers and long-form viewers, like, when you have people subscribing to your YouTube channel and your shorts feed and they're enjoying your content in the shorts feed, then YouTube is more likely to recommend your long form content to them elsewhere on the platform. So because of that, keep in mind, they're recommending your content, but that doesn't mean that people are going to click on it. That part is going to come down to you, how well you understand your audience, how you're packaging up those videos that they have to make the conscious choice to click on. So because of that, just keep in mind that, when you are publishing shorts, as long as those people are enjoying your shorts that are interacting with them, then YouTube does have that logged in their system in terms of those people enjoying your content. So then when you publish your long form videos, as long as topically, it's a good fit for that person, then YouTube will, show it to some of those shorts viewers. Back in the day, when shorts first came out, people were separating channels and, things like that. But YouTube has went through the process of, kind of separating everything on their back end. That's why, over the past handful of months, we've had them, but they have separated, our different content types on our channel pages. They've separated the different content types and mostly inside of our YouTube analytics. So, they're going through that process. They're also building the bridges in terms of, within their system, logging when somebody enjoys a short so that they can, recommend them the long form content. And then they're also doing it to where if you sample out a piece of your just a short out of your long form content, they have a direct link going back to the long form content. So they're working really hard to try to, make that connection. So if somebody loves your content, they're going to get your content regardless if it's in a short shelf or, if it's, on their homepage or, whatever. So, so because of that, don't, like the days of like having to like worry about that, those are gone now, fortunately. Ernesto Esparza says that they have been on YouTube for less than a year. They do gaming content. How many gamers do we have in here? If you're a gamer, just say me. And they do, the goal of the channel is to reach 40 subscribers. And the question is why I make my new videos and I upload 2 videos at the same time. I'm not 100% sure of your question because it sounds like you're asking like why you are making your videos and uploading 2 at the same time. So one thing that I do want to mention, hey Roger, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. One thing that I do want to mention is that, if you are making like multiple videos at once and then you're trying to upload 2 at the same time, make sure that you do have it to where your videos and you can set this up in your upload defaults. Your upload defaults are part of your YouTube settings. And basically what it is you set it up so that when you are uploading your videos, all the information that's in that you go ahead and put in your description, all the settings for like how you want the video set in terms of either public, private, or unlisted, so that when you upload, it's already set that way. So make sure if you are uploading 2 videos at a time, make sure that you have those set to unlisted before you, decide to actually publish one. Because if you have 2 of them going up at the same time and you don't do that and those settings are set to public, once you save them, then, you're putting both of them out there. So one thing that YouTube recommends is they recommend that you do upload your videos as unlisted. And the reason for that is because that keeps everything open for you where you can go in and you can fully prepare your videos so that when you do go public with it, you have everything in place. Paul Peck Drywall Tube. What's up, Paul Peck? Hope you're doing fantastic, my man. Nice to see you in here. Creative Self Therapy. What's going on? Hope you are fantastic. Says, what's the best way to hit 4,000 hours? Keep people watching your videos, publish content on a regular basis. If you do already have, people interacting with your content, doing live streams from time to time, anybody that hangs out in your live stream for a bit, you're getting a lot of watch time from that. So like on my live streams, for example, I get a substantial amount of watch time because we always keep a decent amount of people in here watching the live streams. So, because of that, these, also collect a lot of watch time from them. But, when it comes to getting that 4,000 hours, another thing to remember is that, if you just just focus, like I know because I've been through it. So I know that, you know, when it comes to like, hey, I want to hit the subscriber threshold or I want to hit the watch time threshold, I know that it's like, you know, like how do I speed this up? How do I get it quicker? But at the end of the day, if you just focus on the viewers and how it, you know, like what it is that you're doing for them with the content that you're making and how, you know, you're paying attention to your audience retention reports, which is, for those of you that are new, YouTube gives us inside of our YouTube analytics, they give us a graph that shows us like a second by second, you know, indication of how people are responding over time to our content on average. And you can actually look for problem areas in your content. So, you know, make sure that you are using those types of tools that YouTube gives us so that you can, over time, learn to make better content that people will watch for longer periods of time. And, you know, when you learn how to get people watching longer and you just, you know, focus all your efforts on that good experience for them, then the watch time will happen. The subscribers will happen, right? So you just have to focus on like, okay, how do I make these videos as good as I possibly can in terms of the experience the viewer is going to have with this, and the value that they're going to get from it. If you focus on those things, then you will hit the watch time requirements. Let's see here. So
Super chat.
let's see here. Carlene Geisha says, hey, Nick, channel block me because of my last name. How do I handle that? I think I might also affect my content, but it's my real name. So if you're, yeah, I'm not sure. Like YouTube shouldn't be, you know, restricting that in any way. So I don't think that, you know, it's negatively impacting your channel. One thing that you can do just to double check is if you go into your YouTube app, you can do this on a desktop, you know, on a computer also. But if you go into your settings for it, one thing that you can do is you can actually change your app to restricted mode and then go and look at your channel page and you will see any content that's restricted. So if, you know, if anybody here, if you feel that like any of your content's being restricted in any way, that's how you check it. And then you'll be able to see if any of your videos are kind of hidden from, you know, hidden from public view while in restricted mode. Because basically when you're in restricted mode, that means people have to be like logged in, they have to be over 18, you know, there's actually like requirements there in order for them to be able to view the content. But just like a default user that's not logged in, they won't be able to see the content. So if it's in restricted mode. So because of that, just make sure that you do that check. But I don't think that your name would have any impact there. In terms of channels blocking you because of it, you know, like I can see maybe, you know, if like I wouldn't block somebody because of that. So that might just be something with the, you know, with the channel that did. Okay, so I'm just gonna scroll down and make sure, okay, we got that taken care of. Okay, so next up, we've got, let's see here, Ernesto Esparza. I think we did this one. Yeah, we did. Okay, so next up.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
So next up, we've got Jacker Crackers. What's up, Jacker Crackers? Says they do tech content. The goal of the channel is to gain subscribers. And the question is, hey, Nick, hope you're doing well. I was in Phuket last week. Oh, nice. Any recommendations for next time I go? You should check out Club Med. Have you been to one? Here's my YouTube question. What's the biggest myth you hear big YouTubers say about the algorithm from your consulting? Say hi to D for me. So when it comes to myths that YouTubers believe, this is an interesting question. So first off, Renee Ritchie, I'm not sure if he's still in here or not, but he's actually putting out a series of videos on the Creator Insider channel where he's actually going through a lot of YouTube myths. So definitely make sure you check that out. But when it comes to myths, a lot of content creators, they put a lot of emphasis on tags and they think that, you know, tags are like, you know, everything when it comes to getting views on videos, but tags are actually like one of the lowest things now. Like they don't even like hardly matter. So because of that, like it's important to just always remember on the, you know, other side of that, that, you know, the tags aren't what you need to focus on. You need to focus on making good content and getting people to click on that content through making, you know, thumbnails that help them identify that it's something they care about, either through the imagery itself or stylistically or the words that you're putting on there. And then, of course, the title, you know, needs to be compelling to get them into. So when you are, you know, thinking of myths, like that's one. Roberto Blake, what's up, my man? So Roberto Blake in the house. So one thing that he mentioned right here is the video death spiral is a myth in terms of, you know, larger YouTube channels. They have this idea that there's like this threshold, and then once you hit it, that you just start, you know, kind of tumbling down. But at the end of the day, if you're putting out content and people are enjoying that content, YouTube will continue to show that content to people, and there's no real incentive there, right? Like, why would YouTube limit you know, a channel that has, you know, proven, because, you know, through their size, they've proven to deliver value over and over and over again. What's really happening is that, the content creators that think that, that death spiral is there, what's really happening is they're losing interest. They're not putting in, the effort that they used to put in. They're making different decisions that are leading them down different paths, those sorts of things. So, make sure that you're always remembering that. In addition to that, a lot of people also think that the only way to like get views on YouTube is through YouTube search, but in reality, it's opposite of that. So YouTube search is a great stable traffic source as long as you're uploading, on a somewhat regular basis. But when you are like really trying to like level up what it is that you're doing on YouTube and you're trying to maximize, your view counts and things like that, it's really important to make sure that you are thinking that YouTube search is extremely effective, and it's a really great traffic source, and it's stable. Like I said, as long as you are, uploading on a regular basis and things like that. However, a majority of the views come from YouTube recommending content to people. So when you are targeting YouTube search for something, you always want to make sure that you're also going through the exercise of thinking the thing that I was saying before about, okay, if this were to show up on somebody's homepage, even though I'm going after YouTube search with this, I'm trying to get this to show up over there. If this were to show up on somebody's homepage, what about this would, cause them to identify it and then click on it? And then making sure that you're thinking about that from, even if you're going after YouTube search. And the same thing goes for your title, because you can workshop your titles in a way to where you're like, okay, this is optimized for search, but it's compelling enough to where if it shows up anywhere else, it's also worthy of a click. So just make sure that you're always, keeping that in mind as well. And Roberto says, another myth, live streams don't hurt your channel. It's actually growing channels and making some of the most money out of all formats on the platform. Yeah, some people are just live channels. Like that's all they do and they're thriving. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like that was another thing that happened like a while back. And it basically was like a myth that started going around. And the idea was people, that were making content on like one thing, they were on a live stream on something completely different. And, they were noticing that like just people weren't responding well to their live streams. And they would, kind of blame their live streams for other content not doing well. But in reality, it was just, how they were, approaching the thing. Freaking awesome says, thank you for all your support, patience, and hard work, Nick. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for continuing to show up here. Thank you for, for doing the thing, man. Super, super appreciated. Thank you.
What's up, people? This your boy Viper, the man about tech.
Viper, man about tech in the house. What's up, my man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Hope you're doing great, man. MKME Lab says they would be shooting themselves in the foot, downplaying a channel, which is enjoyed. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see here. So next up, oh, this is a good one. I got to make sure to mention this one here. I'm going to pin this one on the screen real quick, as long as I can get down to the bottom of the comment section here. Yeah, another one here is Roberto mentioned another myth is that SEO is dead. He says, yes, SEO isn't the biggest traffic source, but 90% of YouTube traffic goes to the top 3% of channels. So why do you care why do you care about most? Get views where you can. Yep. And like, it really comes down to optimization. Like when you're making something for YouTube search, all you got to do is just think about it just for a little bit and make sure that you're adding something compelling to it. And when you're doing that, then you're making it more interesting or more compelling from the recommendation features as well. So the next question that we have, and by the way, if you're just joining us, we're talking about YouTube. Everybody here is a content creator. We're all doing, the YouTube thing. But basically the conversation today is we are answering YouTube questions. So I have a form down in the description where people are putting their questions. I'm just answering them in the order that they're received, helping people, better understand, what it is that they're doing on YouTube. So the next question that we have here is from Jaden. Jaden has been on YouTube for a year or more. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to get monetized. And the question is gifted membership still in beta or it's out? So to my understanding, I think gifted memberships is out, to my understanding. Nimmin in the house, what's up, bro? He says, yep, that's my top traffic source too. Search traffic made me a full-time content creator. Yep. So let's see here. So yeah, in terms of the gifted memberships, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's out to everyone now. So next up, we've got Inglis Conharry. says that they do bi-weekly content. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do edutainment content. The goal is to build a following to one day sell online courses. And the question is, hey, Nick, I've been studying your content for years and have been working full time. Hey, really quick before I answer this question, because, we've got a lot of people in here right now, like 400 people. For those of you that use music in your videos, I want to let you know that my brother D and I, we have a free music service. It doesn't cost you anything. A free music service for YouTube content creators. So it's called Creator Mix. You can go to creatormix.com and check that. I got links to everything down in the description. But you can use it like in your live streams. You can use it in your video content, whatever, without having to like worry about anything. And also, when it comes to Creator Mix, like if you just want to like jam out to some really good music, you can also find it on like Spotify, Apple Music, all the major streaming platforms. You can find it over there, so you can listen to that stuff as well. But it's called Creator Mix. So if you do need music for any of your stuff, it's free. We've made it for the community, so definitely make sure that you check that out. D's like, it's free. Like, yeah, really. Like it is. Like it's legit, like free. It doesn't cost you anything. So let's see here. So next up, we've got back on this question here. It says, I've been studying your content for years and I've been working full time making professional videos for people's websites for over a year. That's cool. I feel like with my video skills and my ability to grab people's attention, I can jump in at the deep end with YouTube ads to help get some momentum with regards to views and subs. My plan is to stop the ads when I hit 1,000 subs and then go purely organic from them on. Is this a bad idea? Thanks for all that you do. So the first thing that I would do instead of doing ads first is I would actually try to get some traction organically first. And the reason for that is because even though you're doing this for other people, when it comes to a new channel, you're going to have like different audiences that you're trying to connect with, and you have to learn how to get those specific people to respond. So like as an example, people that watch my content, they don't respond to videos the same exact way as the people that are watching like a lot of cooking content. Even though there's some crossover, like at scale, people don't respond to cooking content the same way they respond to my content. So, when you're working with other people and you're making, videos for them, that's for what it is that they're doing. So I recommend that you get some, organic growth from what it is that you're doing. And the reason for that is because if you don't, and you just put the money on advertising and you're trying to, kind of fast track the process, then as soon as you stop spending money, if you haven't learned how to connect with that audience yet, then it's, as soon as you turn off the spend, then everything grinds to a halt. Because when YouTube recommends your videos to some of those people, like you still got to be able to get them to click. You still got to be able to get them to come in and things like that. So because of that, I always recommend that people start on the organic side. And then from there, if you want to run ads, things like that, feel free. But even with that, like I really still like if you want to have like a long-term sustainable, YouTube channel, like I would just focus all of it on organic growth. But some people, they definitely, they just constantly run ads on their channels and stuff like that. I have a friend of mine that he makes super engaging content. People love it. He gets, lots of views on the videos that he puts out, but he also, as, like a side arm of what it is that he's doing, he also is continually running ads to like a handful of specific videos on his YouTube channel because he uses his YouTube channel for business. So because of that, he's doing the organic growth thing with the value content, but the content that typically drives the most attention to his business and all the different stuff that he offers, what he does there is he will run ads on that content because he actually gets a return there, right? So when you're running ads on a video or on a channel to get to 1,000 subscribers, technically your return could come in monetization, that sort of thing. But really, like if you're in my friend's scenario where you have like a business channel and you have some videos that are proven to convert at a higher rate, you're running ads on those, and that's also bringing attention to your channel. That makes a little bit more sense. But if you're like, a content creator and you're putting out, content, you're trying to, grow your YouTube channel as, a content creator, I really recommend that you do go the organic route. Kelly Caldwell says, liked and shared on my community. Thank you for that. Super appreciate the shares and the likes. If you haven't given this stream a thumbs up yet and you're enjoying the information so far, definitely feel free to give this a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. So the next question that we have, that was another one from Jacker Crackers. So what I do, just as a heads up, I never skip questions unless it's a repeat from the same person. The reason I do skip those is because, I just want to make sure, as many people get a chance to get their questions answered as possible. So if you got a question in here, I'm not skipping it. However, if you repeat if you submit a bunch of questions, then I just answer the first one that I run across, as long as I notice. I've had plenty of times where I've, answered multiple questions. But the Everything C says they do software tutorials. The goal of the channel is to build a side hustle for extra income. And the question is, my initial videos stopped getting impressions after 2 weeks. Are they dead, or will they come back in the future? It's possible they could come back in the future. One thing that I would do if they're getting 0 impressions is I would modify something. Like I would go in, I would update the thumbnails, titles, all of that. Because like if they're not getting impressions, it's because people aren't responding well to them. So because of that, YouTube has kind of deprioritized those, and they're instead prioritizing other content for that audience that is proven to, that they respond better to. So if you are not getting any impressions, like they just stop showing your videos to people, then I would definitely make an adjustment to your thumbnail and or title to see if people, to see if YouTube will give you some impressions then. And then if people respond better to those updates that you do, then, then YouTube should keep showing it to people. Maybe not a ton until they start getting, a lot of data of how that change impacted the video. But when it comes to, those changes, if YouTube just completely bottoms your video out, then, I would first, before you even go through that process, like I would think about, if somebody were to see this thumbnail and title and click on it, what would they expect to get out of the video? And make sure that how you structured the video and the content that you're putting into the video matches what you believe that expectation would be. And then if it doesn't, then make sure that you do update your thumbnail and title. And then from there, make sure that you update your thumbnail and title in a way that will, even if it's not like super compelling, that at the very least build up the right expectations. So the people that do click on it will at least get what they expected, which will also help them watch the videos for a longer period of time and help the video perform better. So just make sure that if you are going to make those changes, that you are thinking of that part of things, because that will be the only thing that like really would make the difference. But absolutely, if YouTube does test that content, even if you don't make any changes at all, if YouTube does occasionally test that content against, other people and they do start responding to it, then, you can just out of nowhere on channels, sometimes you'll just see videos start taking off. So, those sorts of things do happen, but also it does happen as well that if you put something out, people don't respond, that great to it, then in that particular case, then they'll prioritize the content that people are responding better to. Let's see here. Next up on the list here, we've got S&D Huston. S&D Huston says that they do an AuthorTube channel. The goal of the channel is for community and to share my self-publishing journey. I'm also the founder of the AuthorTube Writing Conference. Oh, that's cool. The question is, can I take a portion of longer live videos to create a shorter published video without having to unlist the longer live? If yes, would you recommend or not recommend doing this? Absolutely. So if you have longer form content and it makes sense, for like, like if you can sample out a piece of that long form content to make like a 5-minute video and, it makes sense, like it can stand on its own merit, then in that particular case, absolutely. Sample that content out and you can make that shorter form content without question. So the problem is like when it comes to like duplicate content and things like that, the problem there is like when you take the same video and you just like, upload it, more than once. But in this case, you're taking the longer form content and you're creating a different offering, right? You're uploading something different, even though it's sampled out from that. And that is actually like a strategy that a lot of people use. One, to keep consistent uploads going up to their channels. Two, some people will have like a long form channel and then a short form channel, and they'll use the short form channel to kind of introduce themselves to people. And then they'll use that to also spread awareness about the long form content. So, your call on, that particular approach, but sampling out, shorter clips out of your long form content is absolutely something you can do. And it's actually, something that's pretty common on YouTube also. Carlene Geisha says, thank you for the super chat, says, can I advertise the link to my membership perks on my community tab? Yes, you can. So basically, all channels that have memberships, you have the link that will, send people to your membership. So absolutely, you can say like, oh, hey, by the way, if you're not a channel member yet, these are some of the things that I offer, blah, 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 click this link to, check out the details or whatever. You can absolutely do that. So since it's an on-site link, meaning that people are not going to leave YouTube when they click on it, like you can post any on-site link that you want in your YouTube community feed. Let's see here. So next up on our list is SD Huston. Oh, we did that one already. Okay, let me go next here. Hey, Dave Matney, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Happy New Year. Says, hey, Nick, is there any disadvantages? Is there any disadvantages to blocking certain channels or competitors from running ads on my videos? Absolutely. All disadvantages. The only disadvantage really is that, you know, if they were like a heavy advertiser on your content, then you would take a hit on like ad revenue. But if they are, you know, a competitor, then the hit that you're taking from them advertising on your videos is probably much bigger than just ad revenue. So because of that, in your case specifically, since you're doing like real estate, there's not any disadvantages at all that I can think of blocking your competitors from advertising on your content. You're actually doing yourself a favor there, and that is actually something that I do recommend to business channels that have competitors. You know, because like some people, they'll start a YouTube channel and they'll be like, oh, I don't care about, you know, getting into the partner program because that's not what I'm using this channel for, because it's a business channel. But I'm like, no, you got to get in the partner program, because then you can actually turn ads off, or you can go in and block your competitors from advertising on your videos if you do want to run ads, those sorts of things. So, you know, I would definitely just go ahead and block your competitors there in your AdSense account. And just a quick, you know, tip for you also. So there are tools, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but there's tools on Facebook where you can actually go in and you can look to, like, if you know, like your competitors' Facebook pages, you can actually go over there and you can actually see like the, you know, the campaigns they're running and things like that. And you can follow those links through. So you can get some of the links also that they might be using for advertising. So you can make sure that you're putting some of those in your, you know, in your blocked words list too. Let's see here. So next up on the list, hold on. Chantel just said, hold on, I just lost it here. So Chantel says, I have Roberto's books to get to next as well. Yeah. So Roberto, I have this in my book stand here, but for those of you that don't know, Roberto Blake, that's in the chat right now, this is his, book here. It's called Create Something Awesome. And he's just a friend. Like, this isn't sponsored or anything, but you can get this on Amazon. Basically, the whole thing with this book is it tells you about how creators are profiting from their passion in the creator economy, but a lot of like really good advice in here for content creators, and just a lot of, you know, insight from Roberto's experience, you know, of growing his brand online, and also working with a bunch of other people growing theirs, or helping them grow their brands as well. So definitely a really good book. You can get this on Amazon. Just look for, you know, Create Something Awesome by Roberto Blake. But let's see here. So the next question that we have here is from The Suspect Way. Thanks for mentioning that, Chantel. I appreciate it. So the next channel here is The Suspect Way. The Suspect Way says they do true crime type, no live stream yet. So it's just true crime content. The goal of the channel says, I like this type of content. And the question is, how can I get more subscribers? I know I just started the channel, but my videos so far are more like momentum news type. I know if I start live chat, I will grow a little more, but I have an accent, so I'm not sure yet. European accent. Can you give me please one hint? I just started editing videos, still learning. Is the live chat that important at this moment? I promote myself on Twitter. So one thing to always remember as a YouTube content creator, yes, absolutely. You know, if you want, you can share your videos out onto other, you know, social platforms. Just make sure that, like, if you're sharing your videos out to Twitter, for example, share them to your Twitter account only if your Twitter account is grown from people like interacting with your content, and the people that are following you on Twitter are people that would be likely to enjoy your content. Same exact thing goes if you're going to share your videos anywhere else online, on, you know, in any other communities, on Discord, Facebook, Reddit, anywhere else. You need to make sure that anywhere you're sharing your content, those people are the perfect fit. And the way you think about this is, with my video and my type of content, and even the topic of this, for the people that are in this group, based on their being a member of this group because they're interested in this particular topic, if these people, based on their proven interest in this topic, were to see my video show up on their homepage, would they be likely to respond to this or not? If the answer is a 100% yes, this is a perfect fit for them, then of course, you know, as long as they're okay with people, you know, dropping videos in there, then, you know, sharing your, you know, link to your video in there is fine. However, if you want to focus on the real wins, if you're like, hey, I want to like do the thing that works, I want to do the thing, and I want to spend my time doing the things that will bring me the best benefit, then in that case, focus all of your efforts on YouTube. Like you can share your stuff out to like your Twitter account. Yeah, I would even automate that stuff. So like, Tube Spanner, which we talk about a lot here, they actually have a social media tool that can, that you can just automatically share your YouTube videos out. So like as you're uploading your videos, you can like schedule them to like go out, to Twitter or whatever. Like just do that. And instead of thinking like, oh, I got to publish a video and I got to promote it all over the place, start thinking like, okay, instead of wasting that energy in all of those places, I'm going to spend that time that I would spend trying to share my content in places in my YouTube analytics, trying to get a better understanding of how people are responding to my content. I'm also going to spend some of that time watching content creators in my space, seeing what it is that they are doing that people are responding to well. I'm also going to spend some of that time just reading comments from other content creators in my space, looking for holes in all the stuff that they're doing so that I might be able to make videos about some of those things. And basically the idea is to learn how to leverage YouTube because you're trying to get the results on YouTube. Because, absolutely you can, share to some Reddit pages, and as long as your content's like a perfect fit there, like Reddit can really drive some traffic. However, long-term sustainability, you just got to learn how to do well on YouTube. And if you learn how to do well on YouTube, then that skill set that helped you do well on YouTube, you'll be able to ride that for a considerable amount of time because you've learned how to use the platform that you're wanting to get the results on, right? So because of that, instead of focusing like, sharing your content and like all of that, just focus on YouTube itself. But in terms of, you doing live streams and things like that, live streams are cool. Live streams are great for, just connecting with the community, and, there's all kinds of different types of live streams that you can do. But it's not like a necessary thing that you have to do. So like if you're not ready for live streams yet, or you're like, hey, I'm not quite there yet, let me, because my accent's strong, I'm just trying to kind of fine tune that a little bit first. No problem at all. No problem at all. Like you're okay just uploading video content. Next up, we've got Mo300 says that they have a football fan channel. The goal of the channel is news updates from a fan's perspective. The question is, I've noticed that a trend on my channel and a few others that seem to indicate streaming viewer numbers are dropping, at least in my subject area. I was wondering if you've seen a similar impact, and if so, why do you think this is? So no, actually, in regards to that, like this stream specifically is actually doing, pretty well. So in terms of, stream numbers dropping, if you notice that happening, just keep in mind that, when it comes to, your streams getting recommended, things like that, the similar rules apply in terms of if there's been a lot of people interacting with your channel lately, then, those people are going to be likely the ones that are really enjoying the content are going to be likely to, have it presented to them. In addition to that, once people do come into your live stream, your ability to hold them in the live stream is also, going to be, something that is going to help you keep those numbers up. Like when it comes to your live stream, like it's going to come down just like your video content to how people respond to it. So if you notice the numbers dropping, then it could be some of those things that I was talking about, not having as much activity on the channel as a whole. Therefore, it's kind of reflecting back on the live streams. It could be that just topically or how you're putting your titles and thumbnails together, it's just not being, as compelling for people. So because of that, people just aren't clicking and coming in. So when you publish a live stream, or when you're doing a live stream, sometimes, you nail it and, you get a lot of people coming in. Other times, maybe your title's a little bit off, or maybe, just the timing's off a little bit, or maybe your energy is off or something like that. And, and just, you don't get the same results, out of them. I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of live streams, and out of the, live streams that I've done, they've all been wildly different in terms of their results. Of course, over time, they do seem to continue to slowly grow, just a little bit, they just push just a little bit more over time. But, in terms of just the overall performance, they're kind of all over the place. And you can see that if you go to my live page on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I have some live streams that are packaged up real tight and nicely. They're my news segments. Some of those will have, like 90,000 views on them, 60,000 views on them, 20,000 views on them. And then you have these live streams where they're more of like a hangout, to where, we're answering questions and just like informing people of a bunch of stuff, but there's no real structure outside of just answering question after question. And these particular streams just typically don't do, as well long term. So, you'll see the numbers on these go anywhere from like 15,000 all the way down to like 6,000. So, they're kind of all over the place too. Let's see here. Next up, Ash Borland. What's up, my dude? Hope you're doing fantastic. Nice to see you in here. So we've got Christian Omij. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Omej.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Christian says there, the channel is to make money online. The goal of the channel is to give value and also make money via the YouTube Partner Program. The question is, my channel was demonetized due to invalid traffic clicks, and I'm confused. What do you advise I do now? So if you were not, clicking on your ads on your videos, which technically, if you're not in you were demonetized. Okay. So if you were, accidentally, clicking on the ads for your videos, if you were doing anything, of that nature, then, you are going to get, hit with that once they detect it. If you were not, then in that case, I would go through like a dispute process and see if you can, get that removed. Because if you legitimately were not taking that type of activity, then it could have just been like an error in the system. So because of that, I would definitely dispute it if you feel that you did get that, penalty and error. Next question. We've got, waiting for the page to load here. The Worthless Man. Sounds like an inspiring channel. Just give me a hard time. I love the channel name, but like I read that and I'm like, man, I'm not sure. Like, not sure if I'd click on that one, right? But let's see here. So the question is that you do manga, animanga content. The goal of the channel is for now just taking just making content as a hobby. And the question is related to YouTube's recent change of rules regarding the use of swear words, which, as you explained in a previous live stream, hell and damn can be permissible, but under some suitable conditions. Question, is there something going on with double meaning sentences that I'm not aware of? Not that I'm aware of. It doesn't mean that it's not taking place, but that I'm aware of, they're not trying to like trick people into not monetizing their videos. So when it comes to like double meanings and things like that, like I wouldn't worry about that too much. But just in case, for those of you that are here, just in case you don't know, in case you haven't been watching like the news segments that I do, or you just haven't been keeping up on what's going on YouTube. So basically, YouTube, I mean, they introduced this. They started talking about it like earlier last year, but then they actually like put it into place. I think it was in November of last year, but then they've actually had some content creators starting to get like dinged with this now. And basically what it is they've made it to where if you have a swear word within the first 8 seconds of your YouTube video, then that video will get demonetized. And that also works retroactively on your channel. So because of that, if you're somebody that has an intro like, hey, what's going on, swear word, then something like that, and it happens within that first 8 seconds, there's some channels that are just getting massively demonetized because of that. So that's the reference that the Worthless Man is making. I feel bad like saying your channel name. I'm like, that's the reference the Worthless Man is making. Like that makes me feel bad just saying it that way. That's like a tricky channel name. So The Sound of Cooking is our next channel here. They do cooking content. The goal of the channel is to teach how to cook Taiwanese and East Asian recipes and share stories to eventually monetize and sell courses. The question is, I have two related niches and I'm torn on whether they're close enough to include on my current channel or if I should start a second channel. My main channel is focused on cooking East Asian recipes. As a dietitian, I'd like to add nutrition and cooking videos for cancer recovery, also focused on East Asian foods. The style of these videos would be very different as well. Talking head versus my usual videos that highlight the sounds of cooking. So basically what I'm seeing here, because I'm not seeing the question. I see the problem, but I'm not seeing the question. So, and I'm torn whether they're close enough to include on my current channel. Okay, so here's how to think about this. So one, if you're doing cooking videos for cancer recovery, that's going to be a totally different audience than cooking videos. So what you want to think about when it comes to the, deciding what content to put on your channel is first, you got to think about who it is that you're trying to reach with your content in the first place. And when you're thinking about that, you got to think about, okay, the people that are going to be watching the regular food videos that you make, if they see a title about a food video that has something to do with cancer recovery, are those people likely to click on that? Probably not, unless they're, they know somebody with cancer, unless they, have it themselves or they're in that recovery process, then, most likely not. However, if it's like food content and food content, after they watch one food video, they go to your YouTube channel, they're looking for more videos, they see more just general food content, then they're going to be really likely to click on that because that's all in alignment with what it is that they're interested in. Same thing with like the cancer content. So it's like, hey, if I do the food content over here about that, and then I do more food videos about that, and I have a whole channel about that, then those people that are dealing with that situation, they're going to be able to binge watch all the content on that channel because it's all for them. So when you come into a situation like this, what you have to think about is, who is it that I'm trying to reach? And if somebody watches video A out of that audience that I'm trying to reach, how accessible is every other piece of content on my channel, or at least most of the content on my channel, to that particular viewer? And how easy is it for them to binge watch? And is there anything that I'm doing or any content decisions that I'm thinking of making that could actually throw a wrench into their binge watching session? So for example, and I'm just going to use another type of content, just for this example, but like, as an example of that, like, let's say that you are making, gaming content where you're just doing like, hey, I'm just playing this game. You're reaching a different type of viewer there than people that are trying to like learn about the game, because people that are learning about the game, they might not even watch gaming content, right? So because of that, if you have a channel where you're teaching people about the game, then it's easier for people to binge watch and get up to speed really fast about that game, which adds tons of value to them. However, if you are making that type of content and then you're throwing in like, a bunch of like let's plays and things like that, well, you might make it to where that it's harder for that viewer to binge watch a lot of your content because they're there just for that educational, like how to play the game stuff, not necessarily to hang out in the let's plays. And vice versa, right? It goes the other way too. So when it comes to, the content decisions or the decisions about the content you're putting on your channel, just think of it through that lens in terms of, okay, if somebody were to be watching, this, what is the likelihood that they would also be able to enjoy a majority of the rest of the content on my channel? Now, if you're doing like one-offs, things like that, then, it's not as intense, but like, because if you have a cooking channel and then you just happen to make that video, or you have a set of like health-based videos, then in that particular case, it's fine. But like, if you're like, hey, I'm going to, make like a bunch of videos like this, I would actually separate those so that you can like just really dial in, that audience, and then you can make sure that you have the general food audience dialed in too. KMH family, what's going on? Thank you for the super chat. Nice to see you in here today. Says, hey, Nick, my daughter and I are going to start another channel, Mother and Daughter Podcast, talking topics dealing with personal growth and development for younger generation and single mothers. Would love any advice and tips that you have. Well, you're in luck because YouTube is actually doubling down. Well, not doubling down, but they've got like, their whole podcast section now. And to my understanding, they're actually going to be doing a lot with that here in 2023. So your timing is actually perfect on that. But one thing that I do recommend is, when you are spreading awareness about the YouTube channel, I would just make sure that you're thinking, like on the different channels that you guys have already, just thinking like, okay, for this podcast channel, like out of these different audiences, like we got to make sure that we're just being a little bit mindful of the topics that we're talking about or the things that we're showing in our vlogs on like, one channel, for example, that we're going to let people know about the podcast channel and make sure that it's like a good fit audience wise. But when it comes to the actual podcast itself on like, Apple Podcasts or whatever, then in that particular case, just letting people know about it, having it in all your video descriptions, like, hey, go listen to our podcast. Technically, you could do that as well for your current one, but I would do a couple preemptives first. So like, for example, one thing that I would do is I would go into your community feeds on all your different channels. I would make a handful of posts. One of them would be like, do you listen to podcasts? Yes or no, and then you would get, that data from them, at least the people that were participating in the community posts, which are, some of your most engaged people. And then the next question that I would ask is, what type of podcast do you listen to? And then it would be like, what do you have here that you're going to be doing? Your top topics dealing with personal growth. Okay, so then it would be like personal growth and development would be one option, and then the other option would be like, gossip and like celebrity gossip or something like that, and then like something else of your choice, and then see if you have a lot of people that even listen to that type of podcast on the channels. And you just go through a series of questions like that, designed to understand which channels that you have would be the best to leverage to spread awareness about the podcast that you have, based on them being a good candidate to actually listen to the podcast. So hopefully that helps. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got Fit 50 Project. Fit 50 Project says they've been on YouTube for less than 1 month. Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to the creator side of YouTube. The type of channel is documenting my lifestyle journey or talking about my favorite sports team. The goal of the channel says I'm starting a channel to keep myself accountable to my weight loss goals at 52 years old. That's cool. That's awesome. The question is, I have 2 channel ideas and I'm not sure which one to go with. And that's what's stopping me from getting started any further. One is where I document my weight loss journey at 52, and the other is doing videos about my favorite hockey team, including the history of players and doing a live stream after every game. So I would, like, if you're wanting to do both of those, you can. I would just do them on different channels, right? And then you have, your hockey channel, and then you have your weight loss channel. And since the one would be, your passion about, that particular team, and you'd be doing live streams over there, then just make sure you have enough time, allotted for that. And then for the, like, hey, this is my weight loss journey, and I'm doing this to hold me accountable. In that particular case, like, that'll be really interesting for some people. And, just sharing, all the, things that you're going through there, and giving, some tips on, like, hey, I found that when I do these types of things, it helps keep me motivated, or it's helping me, lose weight faster or something like that. Putting that type of information on the one channel will then create that resource where people can follow your journey there and kind of get behind you and root for you. And then also they can extract some value out of that and through the information that you share to possibly help them, get themselves in shape also. So I think both of your ideas are solid, but I would just pick, I would pick either, like, starting 2 channels that when never doing a channel before, like, that's a bit of a, that's a heck of a jumping in head first. However, like, I personally believe that, like, since this is something that you haven't done before, that starting one and just focusing on that one would be the best thing to do. And the reason for that is because when you are learning how all this stuff works, I'm not sure if you're in here earlier when I mentioned that, people that are responding to my content don't necessarily respond to the same things as people that at scale are watching, like, recipe videos. So because of that, when you're doing 2 different channels like that, it can kind of make it a little bit more hard to learn who it is that you're, really, how your videos are being received, but 2, how to really connect with the people that you're trying to reach. But if you focus on one, then you can just go all in on that one, and you can really learn how YouTube works. You can learn the things that audience responds to, and you can learn how to really serve that one audience. And then once you start getting some momentum there, then start doing the other thing. But in my opinion, between these 2, if you are starting a weight loss journey and you are doing that for the sake of, accountability, so to speak, then in that case, I would do that one. And the reason for that is because you're doing it for accountability. The other one is because you like hockey and because you want to talk about it, but the other one is for accountability. So if you feel like, hey, I want that accountability and this is going to help me complete this journey, then in that particular case, I would do that one, because then that way you're, the why and the reason that you're doing it is just, like, super strong there, because, you're adding the value to other people who might be in a similar scenario. Plus you're using it as a way to keep yourself fired up and motivated moving forward. So I personally think, with the information that I have here, from your question, I personally think that would be, the best way to go, just for the sake of, being able to, lean on that for the accountability. So then you'll be winning on, using it to help you lose the weight, and then also winning on, doing YouTube, and then also adding that value to other people and getting in motion too. So if it was me, I would start with the weight loss one, but I would consider it on the other one too, if you have the time to do it. But I would get one moving first and get some real momentum on one channel, so that you could, like, really, because there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to YouTube. Like, when you watch other content creators and you don't have a channel, and you watch other content creators from the outside, like, it looks one way, but then when you start doing it, it's like it's different. So because of that, like, I would just go, I would go hard on the one channel until until you're like, okay, I get it. I know how to put videos together. I know how to get that response. I know how to get people to click, so on and so forth. And then from there, decide if you want to, put in the work for the second channel. Let's see here. Next up on our list here. And by the way, if you're enjoying the stream so far, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Would super appreciate it. So Genesis is this next channel. The question is, because they don't have the type of channel, they don't have the goal of the channel. They say, hey, Nick, do you believe shorts ruin long-form views on a channel? Many channels I watch who started posting shorts a while back now get horrible views on their VODs. For example, some channels with 1 million subs are barely getting 20,000 views on their VODs despite uploading them regularly along with shorts. This makes me wonder whether I should upload shorts at all. Thanks in advance for your insight. So here's the thing. So if you look around at a bunch of YouTube channels, you'll actually find tons of YouTube channels that have, you know, close to 1 million subscribers or over 1 million subscribers that don't get tons of views on their videos. That's just, you know, part of how it is. Like, you know, some content creators just based on their subscriber count, like my, you know, content, like, you know, my viewers are relatively transient because of the nature of what it is that I do. So even though I have a big subscriber count, that doesn't necessarily mean that like all of those people are like waiting for my next video, right? So there's also a bunch of other content creators on the platform that are in a similar boat. So when it comes to looking at them and blaming shorts for it, I think that's kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit, because when it comes to, you know, the performance of the videos stand on their own merit. So if they publish a long form video and YouTube shows it to people and people are enjoying that content, YouTube's going to continue to show it to more people. So it's possible that the shorts are distracting them from what it is that they're doing in their long form content because, you know, they might be, you know, kind of splitting up their efforts and that could be part of the problem. But in terms of the shorts themselves, the shorts will go into the short shelf. They'll also show up in some places on the platform, but like the long form content actually gets like the normal recommendations. So, so I personally think that you would be fine going forward with YouTube Shorts. I'm also going forward with YouTube Shorts on my channel as well. So you know, I'm doing it because I also, you know, believe what it is that I'm telling you here. And when it comes to all of this, just remember that, you know, when you notice a channel, I was on somebody's channel yesterday. They had, let's see here, there's over 900,000 subscribers. It was a music channel. And on that particular channel, most of the videos on their channel had like 10,000 views or less. And it was a music channel, like music content, like teaching people, you know, about music. But, you know, based on their subscriber count, you'd be like, you know, like, hey, what's going on? But another thing when it comes to subscriber count as well is you don't actually know the content that got them that subscriber count. So I was at a YouTube meetup just the other day, yesterday, actually, Friday. And the previous week, because the guy was there that time too, but the previous week when, you know, everybody kind of went around the table and introduced themselves and talked about their channels and all that, this guy has like 200 and something thousand subscribers on his YouTube channel. And he was like, to be honest with you, it was a fluke. He was like, I made this one video and that one video did it. I don't know what happened. Don't know why. It was a total fluke. None of my other videos do that. Everything else kind of sucks, but I have this like big subscriber count. And, you know, like that kind of stuff happens. So, you know, when you're looking at it and blaming it on shorts, I mean, of course, you know, it's possible that, you know, there could be something weird in the system, but, you know, according to like YouTube and what you see across most other channels, it's not, you know, something that's negatively impacting it. To also walk down this road a little bit more on YouTube Shorts, another thing that people are thinking when it comes to YouTube Shorts is that YouTube Shorts are destroying attention spans and that therefore people are not watching long form content. On the lines of that, another thing that I want to just make sure that, you know, everybody's thinking about is when it comes to the short form content, it has its place and the long form content has its place. So, you know, some people will hop into the YouTube short shelf and they'll just watch that because of the amount of time that they have or just because they enjoy it. Other people don't watch shorts at all. And those people just watch the long form content. So this is one of those additional things that come down to like really understanding your audience and where they're consuming content and the things that they like and, you know, those sorts of things. But you know, shorts is something that's here to stay. And it's not something that you have to leverage. So, you know, you got to know that. But it's something that if you want to experiment with it, I wouldn't worry about it. Let's see here. The real deals. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Let's see here. The kind of channel here is, let's see here. The name of this one is Faith and Sweat. And the type of channel says my channel talks about news, politics, and social issues. The goal of the channel says my goal is to provide a space that tough questions and discussions can be had. I provide a space where men can come and be supported. The question is, how can a small channel compete with a larger channel? I seem to be a step behind a big channel in my niche. Make better videos. So when it comes to a smaller channel competing with a big channel, when you publish your video, like the difference between a large channel and a channel that's like just getting started is with a large channel, there's a ton of data behind that channel. So because of that, YouTube knows like who to show the content to based on, all of the interactions that are happening with the content and all the data that's been collected on that channel over time. And when you have a brand new channel, you just don't have that data. So when YouTube starts showing your videos to people, just like the big channel, you still play by the same rules in terms of, if people respond well, then the video will do well. But they just have a lot more people that they know to show the content to right out of the gate on a bigger channel. However, when it comes to long-term performance of the videos, if you get a better response from your video all the way through, and by all the way through, I mean people see it, they click on it at a high rate or at least competitive rate. They, watch it for a competitive amount of time. Maybe they click on end screens, they watch more of the videos, they're engaging in the videos, those types of things, sharing them out a lot. Then in that case, your video over time can end up doing better than theirs. So like, let's put it into this perspective. Let's say, because you have my YouTube channel that you guys are watching right now. Let's say anybody here started a YouTube help channel tomorrow, and you and I were like, hey, let's make the same exact videos on our channels. And we did the same exact videos, but we did them in our own ways. Then at the time of publish, it's pretty likely that over the first at least handful of hours that mine would do better, at least the moment we publish the video, that mine would do better, probably even like the first day or two. But when it comes to your video, if over time, when YouTube is showing your videos to people, if they start responding better than my video, then as long as we're, reaching the same audiences in terms of, in their system, then in that particular case, if your video is just a better video and people are enjoying it more, then over time, your video will do better than mine. Okay. So a really good example of this, for those of you that are familiar with Ed over at Film Booth. So in his case, he'll talk about, a lot of similar topics and things like that. But because of the way he puts his videos together, it's just a more interesting experience. So me, I'm just here to teach you, like how to do all this stuff. With him, he's like teaching you about it. Plus he's, kind of like demonstrating through his example of storytelling. And, because of the way he does it, people really love his videos. I do too. And with that, he gets, tons and tons of, views on his videos, even in this space, which, before he started doing that, we had this kind of like glass roof, so to speak, on our space. But, when he came in, based on his content, he started doing that. So with some of the videos that he's putting together, even though his channel is currently smaller in terms of like subscriber counts, his videos are still doing, better based on, the way that he's putting things together in a lot of cases. So because of that, it's important to make sure that when you're trying to compete with larger channels, that you're just thinking like, hey, I just got to make videos that people respond to in a different way, or in a better way. So I got to think of a way that I can present this that's different than how these other people are doing it, or I just got to make better videos if we're doing it in the same way. And by doing that, then that will make you, more competitive with them. But more importantly, remember that it's always easy to be trying to chase other YouTube channels and trying to like keep up with what everybody else is doing in the space and all of that. But at the root of everything, if you have goals that you're trying to accomplish with your YouTube channel, focus on accomplishing your goals. If those are based around subscriber counts, view counts, or anything else, like if it's, income or impact, anything like that, whatever your goals are, focus all of your efforts on what can I do to achieve these goals? What can I do to achieve these goals faster? How can I, come up with better ideas that will help, resonate more with people, that will also help me achieve these goals and all that? If you focus on, trying to achieve your goals and you focus on adding value to the people that are going to help you achieve those goals, then those two things in combination will make it to where you don't even have to worry about what everybody else is doing, right? Because you'll be doing awesome. So because of that, I'd recommend that you, even though it's easy to want to compete, and I'm not saying like, don't look at other channels and be like, oh yeah, I can do way better than that. Like, I'm not saying don't have that approach, but what I'm saying is don't think that don't look at it like a competition. Look at YouTube more of a collaboration. And the reason that you want to think about it that way is because, one, when you're focused on your goals, then you're going to be doing everything you can to meet your goals based on everything that you can do and that you have access to. And they're going to be doing it, based on what they do and what they have access to. But when you have somebody thriving in your space, it's awesome. And the reason for that is because you can get recommended from their content as well. So when you start having crossover, then it can become really advantageous for somebody to start doing well, because then you can actually start, getting views coming from their channels as well. And then they become part of the cluster that you're operating in. So, so because of that, just remember that, it's like on YouTube. I mean, of course, we're all competitive, but like, it's also more though of a collaboration just based on how their system works in serving content to people. Hey, Colin, what's up, man? So let's see here. So next up on our list, actually first really quick, we got Shark Scrapper. Says, I started my weekly live streams on the 1st of January based on many of the ideas that we discussed at Vid Summit. StreamYard makes it easy, and your counsel was hugely important. Thank you. My pleasure. First, glad that you are enjoying StreamYard. Second, actually first, it was awesome hanging out with you at Vid Summit. Like we got to spend some like really good time together at Vid Summit, and I love that. Second, super happy that you're enjoying StreamYard. And third, I'm glad that you're also, getting value out of the content as well. So thank you for the kind words there, and super, super awesome to see you thriving. Let's see here. And another one to answer here before we hop back into the forum. This is from Adam, A Gamers. Says, I do gaming, but when I send videos on Twitter and TikTok, they like it, but no people come see my videos. And when I publish my videos, got more views than the other. How do you fix it? So basically what you want to do is over time, and this is where like, trying to hurry and do stuff, this is where this can kind of, get a little bit weird. But when you are having videos do wildly better than other videos, it's actually a good thing, because then you can analyze those videos inside of your YouTube analytics or your statistics for your YouTube channel and for each individual video. You can analyze those videos and you can start to figure out why, why those videos did better. So how you do that is you look at your videos and you look at your audience retention reports, which is something that is a free feature inside of YouTube that all of this has. It's attached to all of our videos. But basically you look in your audience retention reports and you see like, hey, this is how people are responding to what it is that I'm putting together. So you'll see that graph on, how people are flowing through your content, and you can say, hey, I had a lot of people leave here. Why? Why do I think they did that? And then you come up with theories on why you think people might have left. Maybe you're talking too much. Maybe you weren't talking enough. Maybe you're showing one thing for too much. Maybe you weren't showing it for long enough. Maybe you were, you didn't have a good structure for your video that pulled people through it and people just kind of got disinterested and left, those types of things. But then you take your theories that you come up with and you say, okay, these are the reasons that I think that people, left the video or that they weren't responding well to these videos. And so because of that, I'm going to do something different related to that in these new videos. And then you start putting those videos out, and then you start through your experimentation on your theories, you start testing your theories to see if your theories are correct on why people are leaving your videos. And what that looks like is when you are taking your theories and you're applying those theories to the new content. So for example, let's say that you're like, hey, I'm like just sitting on camera and I'm just sitting here, or you're doing gaming content. So let's say that you are noticing that people are leaving during your loading screens, right? So it's like, let's say you're playing COD and then you have the loading screen where you're sitting there and you're getting all like loaded out and you're getting ready to be deployed. Then in that particular case, if you notice that, then your theory would be, okay, well, I'm thinking that they might be leaving because of this loadout, section right here. So then in the future videos that you're putting out, you would cut out that loading section, you would just edit it out, and then you would go back into your analytics and you would say, okay, in this latest video that I published that I cut that out, did people continue watching through that part? Yes. Okay, good. Let me do it again in my next video and see if I get a similar result. Yes. Okay. Then I'll do that again in my next video and every video forward, and I'll just keep confirming that, that people are still sticking around for that while I'm working on those next parts of the video. Or if you're like, hey, people are still leaving in these parts of the video, then that, when you're testing the thing on, removing the loadout screen, then in that particular case, then you would say, okay, that's not the reason, right? That was my theory, but that wasn't the reason people are leaving. So now let me try to come up with some other reasons that people might have left there and then test that with new content. So that's where like trying to hurry up and do YouTube is kind of difficult. And that's also where, uploading a lot of content is beneficial because that gives you a lot of information that you can work with quickly. But, of course, depending on time, we can only upload as much as we can upload. Hopefully that helps. Let's see here. Rapid Repair DIY says, I started 2.5 months ago knowing nothing about YouTube, now at 449 subs. Am I growing too slowly or typical results? You're doing awesome. So the fact that you already have 449 subscribers, you're 2.5 months in, like you're doing great. So on my YouTube channel, first, it's important to know that everybody grows at different rates. Some people will just hit the ground running and they'll just start, just rising right out of the gate. Other people, they'll upload for years before they actually hit a stride. Like Colin and Samir, they just recently crossed 100,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel, but they were on YouTube for like 10 years before, somewhere between like 8 and 10 years before they started doing what it is that they're doing now that got them to that 1 million, right? So like when it comes to the growth, it's different for everybody. Mr. Beast, I think he did. I think Mr. Beast did. I think he was on YouTube like a decade before he started like really like lifting off and like doing the thing. So like when it comes to the speed of growth, it's different for everybody. There's also content creators that started in the beginning of 2023 and they've already got 1 million subscribers. So there's that too, right? There's both ends of the spectrum, but when it comes to you having 449 subscribers, you have proof of concept, and I want you to lean on that. For everybody here, if you have subscribers on your YouTube channel that are not people that you know, in terms of they're not friends, they're not family, they're not like your buddies from school, they're not like coworkers, anything like that, then you have proof of concept for what it is that you're doing in terms of people are enjoying your content enough to subscribe to it. Now you have to start fine tuning things and you have to start thinking about scale. Like, how can I scale this up? In my case, when I first started my YouTube channel, it took me 5 months to get my first 150 subscribers on my channel. Okay. So like you're crushing me like already. So like just stay your path. Keep learning, keep applying, keep fine-tuning what it is that you're doing and trying to make a better experience and add value to the people that are watching your content, and you'll do fine. Let's see here. So Colin Michael right here, so he's verified, so he has a play button, says it took him 9 months to get to 100 subscribers, right? So there's another one. Right. So 9 months for him to get to 100. It took me 5 to get to 150. So you're doing great. So keep up, keep it up. Okay, so next up on our list here, we have Marcinal Rasinji. I hope I'm saying that correctly. They do daily content. They do movie reviews and movie news. The goal is to become a full-time YouTuber, and the question is thumbnails for shorts, yay or nay, and why? So when it comes to thumbnails for shorts, now they have the option where you can like select like a screenshot or like a still image from your shorts during the upload process. So just pick like the best thing that you can, the best thing that represents that video, and just choose that, because that's going to be the thing that when your page opens. I'm just gonna kind of put this in here. Oh, hold on, I gotta do that here in a second. But basically, I'm just looking for the short shelf here. But basically, like, you just pick something, because when it shows up here, right, you want to make sure that that it's something that just gives some type of information about your video to hopefully get people to click on it. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is interesting. So Roberto Blake just says, Mr. Beast was a small YouTuber since he was 12 and didn't pop until he was 20. He made 460 videos to get to 10,000 subscribers, right? And then look at him now, right? So sometimes it can just take a while. So let's see here. Next question that we have on our list here is we've got, says, I don't currently have one, so they don't currently have a YouTube channel. The goal of the channel says they want to create content and monetize to eventually pay me full-time and fund gardening, aquaponic systems, and contribute to tiny house communities for homeless and affordable low-income households. Awesome. Like that, like in terms of like your why, love it. Absolutely love it. Question. I don't want to be tied to a specific topic or niche. My passion and creativity really takes off getting to challenge myself with different things. So I feel like that's where my content will have a higher quality. My categories would be DIY projects, personal development, and finances. And eventually I would like to make videos about the different things the channel funds for charity, so people see everything they support. What is the best way to structure a channel for something like this? Or should I focus on one thing? So here's what I recommend. So when it comes to like all the different content that we want to put on our YouTube channels, everybody is like multi-passionate. Like everybody has, all these different things that we're interested in. But when you're making content for other people, it's important to make sure that you're thinking, because, we can make content for ourselves all day. Like, I can make videos about all kinds of different stuff if I just want to watch it myself. But when it comes to making content for other people, if you're going to make a channel for those people, it's best practice to have a channel that is around a singular theme or topic. Now, as part of that, that's more about the audience that you're reaching than it is necessarily about the specific like video to video, connection, so to speak. Because if you are running your ideas through the filter of, is this a great fit for the audience I'm trying to reach? And the answer is always yes for the videos that you're publishing, then those are good videos to publish. But when you run across like, I'm not really sure if this would, no, then don't put it on there, right? Because it's not that great fit. So when it comes to taking all of this stuff and putting it on one channel, it ends up working against you because like okay, think of it this way. If you were watching my videos and you're trying to learn about YouTube and hey, I can go to Nick's channel, I can, watch tons of videos to learn about YouTube. And you start watching some videos and then all of a sudden you start seeing a bunch of cooking videos on my YouTube channel. What's going to happen in your brain is you're going to be like, why is he putting cooking videos on here? But I'm like, hey, I love to cook. I just want to share this with people. But it's like, okay, Nick, that's cool that you like to cook and you can share that with us. But like we come to your YouTube channel to like learn about YouTube, right? Maybe, if you want to mix your cooking into your YouTube help channel, somehow that's cool. But like in terms of like making cooking videos, like that's not what we're here for, right? So the same exact thing in your case, like if you're doing DIY projects, then what you need to think about is, okay, if somebody comes in and they love how I do my DIY projects, but then the next video that they watch is about finance and they don't really care about that because they have their finances in order, then in that particular case, then I'm breaking that chain of content that people can watch on my YouTube channel and I'm limiting the opportunity for people to just sit back and binge watch a bunch of videos. So what I recommend is first, think about the audience that you're trying to reach. And then two, think about, okay, for that type of viewer, what can I make on this channel that will, add value to that viewer, and then run with that. But when you're just making a big hodgepodge of stuff, that's a great way to like really make it hard for yourself and to take a wheel that's on a flat road and just kind of, being able to roll until it finds that downhill and can start rolling faster. It's like what you're doing there is you're like, hey, I'm taking this wheel that's just rolling down this flat road and I'm just building these inclines, right? I'm building these inclines. And then now I'm going to have to get behind this wheel and start pushing it because, it's going to be kind of hard to roll on its own, so to speak. So I would just make sure that you're thinking about that. So really quick, also on the how long it takes to get certain amounts of subscribers, the language tutor, who also has a check mark here, so they're, a 100,000 plus subscriber channel, says it took them a year to get their first 100 subscribers, and then the snowball took off for them. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So next question we have here is from Mr. David Ray. Mr. David Ray says that they do gaming content. The goal is to entertain people and build a community. The question is, general advice for new gaming creators in a very crowded space. I think I'm doing well with thumbnails and video edits. Former graphic designer and marketing guy in a corporate setting. My CTR and average view duration are decent. I think I'm usually around 6% CTR and between 40 to 50 average view duration, but I think I could be doing more. Okay, so a few things to think about. I'm not sure. Here, I'll actually go and look at your view counts real quick because I think you put your channel link in here. You did. So basically, when it comes to your click-through rate and your average view duration, just something to think about real quick is one, okay, so I see what you're doing now. So one, when you get more impressions on your videos and and those eventually turn into more views, hopefully, when you're getting more impressions on your videos and you're getting more activity in your videos, it's harder to maintain like good numbers. So the fact that like, as an example, I'm looking here and I'm seeing that you have, and I'm just going to go back to like a video that was put out like almost a week ago. So you have 175 views on this particular video. And if you are, with that many impressions if your click-through rate is already down to, let's see here, 6%, then your thumbnails are probably, or just the topics of the videos, because people will click, because of the thumbnail, they'll click because of the topic, they'll click because of the title. So all those things are a factor. But I would definitely work on your click-through rate. So just to give you perspective on my YouTube channel, if I don't have from home pages, because you can go into your traffic sources, just a little sidebar here, you can go into your traffic sources and you can actually look to see the click-through rate that you're getting on different places on YouTube within whatever date range that you select. So for example, you can see what your click-through rate looks like on like home pages. You can see what it looks like in search. You can see what it looks like in suggested. So if I personally don't, like once I hit 100,000 impressions on home pages or just in browse features, if I don't have over a 5% click-through rate, then I'll usually update my thumbnail. Because for me, as long as the video is good, then in that particular case, I've found that like 5% is just kind of like the bottom if I'm hitting around that 100,000 subscribers on a video that's a little bit more broad audience. If it's something like super niche, like, hey, this is something about like live streaming software, then in that case, it's a little bit different. But if it's like more of a broader audience within my niche type of content, then once I hit that 100,000 impressions from home pages, if I'm not maintaining that 5%, then I'll update the thumbnail. I try to like when I see like, 6%, 7%, and I'm in that scenario, 8%, 9%, then I'm like, okay, this is good. This video will probably keep going good for a while. But if it goes down to that 5, then I'm like, okay, 100,000. Like if I'm like 3% at 100,000, then I'm like, okay, we got to go in and we got to update this. So just make sure that you're keeping that in mind. Same thing with your retention. The more people that are interacting with your content, the harder it is to maintain that retention, because, as it starts going out to more and more broad audiences, those people are less likely to be like that perfect fit. And since they're not that perfect fit, like the original people or the first people that see it, then in that case, it can kind of drive the numbers and the general response down. So just keep that in mind with your content. But the fact that you're a former graphic designer, you're like light years ahead of a lot of people when they're starting out. And the fact that you're a former marketing person, you are, just with what you know from the marketing world, you're light years ahead of tons of content creators, because a lot of general marketing concepts cross directly over to what it is that you're doing on YouTube. So, knowing that, you'll be able to fine tune this, and you'll probably do fine over time. So just, make sure that you are using the information that you currently have to try to, just do better and better. But I just wanted to make sure that I explained that part about, when you have low numbers, when you have higher click-through rates, average view durations, and things like that, it's good because, it keeps you, moving forward, but it just gets harder and harder to maintain those numbers as you start scaling out. So, and another thing, in terms of video performance, so even in some cases, you might see like a click-through rate or your average view duration, and you might be like, man, I should be doing better with these numbers. In some cases, just there's other content on the platform right now that is reaching the audience that you're trying to reach. It might not even be related to the type of content that you make, but it's content that's facing that same audience. If that content is like super competitive, like right now at this moment in time when you publish your video, and there's a lot of the high performing videos there, then in that case, like your numbers have to be even higher. So just keep those types of things in mind too. So let's see here. So one thing Roberto says, and I always like to quote Roberto, just because he shares so much good information. He says, for most of you, everything can be improved with your topic choices, aka the content you choose to make. Then it's not being great as titles. Then it's thumbnails and not not taking into timing and trends. Not talking into timing and trends. So here, Madhouse Tales, thank you for the super sticker there. I appreciate it. And Faith and Sweat, thank you as well. Says, thank you, Nick, for answering my question. Your response is exactly what I keep reminding myself. I'm a little impatient. Would you recommend small content creator put themselves in their thumbnail? So I recommend that content creators focus. Okay. When you're designing something or when you're making something, like an image of some kind for people to respond to, it's really important to make sure that you have a clear focal point. And that focal point for the people that you're trying to reach should be something that will help them know that your content is something that they care about. The focal point shouldn't be you as the person. The person can be used as a way to kind of help pull attention, because thumbnails with people in them can pull attention, but it can also hurt the performance of a video as well. So because of that, it's important to make sure that you're thinking first, okay, this content is about this. So what do we need to make sure that we're putting in the thumbnail in order to help people understand at a glance? Because as people are going through that home, either on a computer, they're just kind of looking at the grid they see, or on a mobile device, they're going through that home feed. What they're doing is they're just looking for stuff that, kind of jumps out at them, based on the things that they care about. And as soon as a video pops up that is, internally in their subconscious, something that they're interested in already, then it's like, oh, what is this, right? And then they'll pay like a little bit more note to it, maybe read the title. And if that's compelling, then they'll click in and watch the video. So because of that, just make sure that you're focusing, that you're like, okay, this is the primary focus of this thumbnail. And this is the thing that's going to help them identify something that they're, that they care about. And then this here, maybe it's me, maybe it's other things that I put in the thumbnail or whatever, then this would be like secondary. But the main thing that I need to make sure that the focus of this thumbnail is the thing that will, resonate with the viewers, or the viewers that I'm trying to reach. So hopefully that helps. And another thing is also experiment. So like one thing that you definitely want to do as a content creator is experiment. So of course you can do this with TubeBuddy, where they have their A/B testing tool where you can swap, thumbnails back and forth. But you can also do this like yourself as well, just going in and looking at your, at your click-through rate and sorting it down by date range. It's a little bit more difficult, which is why TubeBuddy is the easier way to do it. But if you want to, if you're like, I don't want to, pay for that, then in that case you can do it manually. So what you would do is you would say, okay, here's the thumbnail, after it's initially published, here's the thumbnail without me in it, and here's the thumbnail with me in it. And do I find that they respond better to one or the other? And then of course, if you find that they respond better to one or the other, then you test that with your next video at the time of publish. And then of course you would do that same experiment there, but in reverse. And then you just kind of keep rinsing and repeating that until you uncover that typically, if you use thumbnails with or without yourself, people respond better. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're trying to figure that out. Tapping into timing and trends. There we go. Thank you. Make your thumbnail about what the viewer will recognize and respond to, says Roberto Blake. So let's see here. Next up on our list here, we got Poop Scoop for Noobs. Says that they upload when they have time. The type of channel is Poop and Scoop in Business. The goal of the channel is to become a better resource for other scoopers and inspire people to start their own business. Question, hey Nick, thank you for all your advice. With your input, I'm finally at 522 subscribers, got accepted to the Amazon affiliate program, and have been able to sell digital products on my website. At what point in my content creator journey would it be healthy to fully commit into being a creator and full-time entrepreneur instead of holding on to the safety net of my day job? So this is a really good question. And this is something that hopefully a lot of you will have to face, because for some of you that are hanging out here, there's going to come a point in time to where YouTube is going to be doing so good for you in terms of like the revenue that you're generating, that you're going to be faced with this particular problem, to where it's like, hey, this is doing so good, maybe I should just double down on this and not do the other stuff that I do. So some things that, that I recommend when it comes to this is, first, make sure that what you're doing is something that happens consistently, because sometimes you can have like one video takes off and it will drive the channel. Other times, it might just be like 2 or 3, but make sure that you're able to get consistent with results with what it is that you're doing, and that all of the weight isn't being carried by just like, a piece of content or a couple pieces of content. Typically, like when channels grow, it is just a handful of videos that like really get them there initially, but along that, the baseline of all of the videos rises, right? So just make sure that you are consistently able to do the thing is the idea, right? So then that way, it's sustainable. 2, make sure that you are setting yourself up for sustainability in terms of like your upload schedule, that you're flushing out the ideas about videos that you might publish into the future, so you can ensure that you're going to be able to do this for a nice amount of time into the future. Next, you need to make sure that you are looking into the tax implications. As a business owner, you have like a whole different set of rules that you have to play by when it comes to taxes. It can be a benefit as well, when it comes to taxes, but there's like a whole other, group of things that you have to worry about there, or not worry about, but you got to think about. In addition to that, also make sure that you do have money saved up, because, when it comes to YouTube, sometimes things are up and all of that. Sometimes you make some mistakes, or you have just a period of time where maybe you're in a creative rut and you're just not nailing it like you normally do. And at that point in time, things can kind of, take a dip. So just make sure that you also have, a nice amount, like 6 months, maybe even a year, if you really want to secure yourself, of your, money saved up, so that you can ensure that if you do take that step away from your job, that you are, that that if you do go through some of those low times, then you are, that you can cover yourself through it. In addition to that, I also recommend that you don't go full time. And this is a personal choice as well, but this is just my recommendation. Because of the seasonal nature of YouTube, and I don't mean necessarily, summer, winter, spring, fall, but the seasonal nature of YouTube in terms of, some niches, they just thrive better in certain times of the year than other times. Sometimes the creator themselves, based on all the different things that are going on in their lives, will thrive more on YouTube at certain times than others. So because of that, I recommend that you do YouTube for a year before you go full time. And the reason for that is so you can see what that cycle looks like. Because if you go through and let's say you're doing like, hey, I've been doing this for like 4 months and everything's awesome. And then you go all in and then it's like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't know we had this like, drier period where people are going and doing these other things, not really watching this type of content for like, 4 months out of the year. So because of that, just make sure that you do give yourself that, that certainty, or not certainty. I mean, there's never certainty with anything, but just make sure that you're giving yourself that, that you're informing yourself, so to speak, with that information. And that's why I recommend that you do that cycle so that you can make sure that you're, good to go there. So Paranormal Proof 666 says you can't risk going full time because YouTube changes the rules too often. I love comments like this. And the reason I love comments like this is because I think that what you're suggesting is good kind of like food for thought. But the reality of it is, if you do it correctly, what you can do from YouTube will surpass and of course this all depends, on everybody's jobs and all that, but what you can do from YouTube can surpass what it is that you do from like your normal job, and surpass it so much that you can make more money in a short amount of time than you will make in your entire career working a job in some cases, right? So because of that, with that risk, you have to make sure that you are setting yourself up properly, that you are doing everything right. But when you are like, how can I say this? If Roberto was on here, he would give it to you, he would give it to you, but like when it comes to this type of thing, like, in any business, there's a risk attached to it, and nothing is guaranteed ever with anything. However, for those that do take the risk and that do intentionally move through the obstacles that are in front of you when you try to go full time on YouTube and you try to make this a sustainable thing, for those of you that, do go through that, the rewards on the other side of that can be so massive that it can change everything about your life in a very, relatively short amount of time compared to a job, right? So for example, if I didn't have this YouTube channel and I were to start from scratch, brand new YouTube channel, nobody knew who I was. If it was like a faceless YouTube channel, for example, I could get that channel just based on my knowledge, of my channel and working with other content creators. I would be able to get that channel to the point to where it was making a full-time income relatively quickly, just based on my knowledge of doing this. So because of that, using that same knowledge with the experience that I have here with this channel, like, let me say it this way. I know a lot of content creators that have been doing YouTube for just a nice handful of years, and a lot of them, if they chose to, could just not work anymore, right? They could retire if they wanted to. So because of that, when you are looking at it like it's a limitation, like, hey, YouTube changes too much, so blah, 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 there's the other side of that too, right? And to be fair, not everybody can do that, right? Like, just based on, your skill sets and what you're willing to go through and endure, because, this stuff, putting everything in your own plate, so to speak, it can make it, kind of tough. Roberto, I'm actually getting ready to shut it down. I would love for you to come on, but I'm getting ready to shut it down here in a minute. My brother and Daniel are streaming, so I'm getting ready to shut this down here in just a second so people can go over there. But I would love for you to come on. If you want to come on next week, absa-heck-lutely, yes. But when it comes to, this side of thing and going full time, like the opportunity that's on YouTube is staggering. I have a friend of mine that we actually ended up running into each other at a coffee shop here. He recognized me from my YouTube channel, and he's like, "Hey, are you Nick?" Blah, blah. And we started talking, and he was actually making YouTube videos for another company at that time. And I was like, "Hey man, you're doing this thing, you're grinding it out, you're batch creating content, you're like, you understand the thing. Why aren't you doing this yourself?" And he was like, "Never really thought about that." So he was like, "You know what? I think I'll start, kind of thinking of some ideas." He came up with some ideas of what he was going to do, started his YouTube channel, built like a whole program around his YouTube channel, and built like a business around his channel, what he was doing. And he came in there super intentional. He sent me a screenshot. I think it was like 2 months ago. And he did this. He started this channel in 2019. And he sent me a screenshot. I think it was 2 months ago, where he crossed, and I'll actually show it. I'll show you the screenshot if I can. Here, give me 1 second. But basically, he crossed $1 million in revenue, and he started in 2019. Let's see here. Let me find his, and I'm just going to show you the screenshot as long as his name isn't on here, because I don't want to, I don't want to throw him under the bridge, privacy wise. So give me 1 second here. Let's see. And the reason I'm showing you this is because, it's inspiration. I just want to let you know, because it's really easy for people to come in and say things like, like, "Oh, that's not possible. Oh, you can't do that. Oh," like there's always going to be those people. But like, I'm just trying to be the voice for those of you that are like, "You know what, this might be something that can, really, impact me and those around me in some major way." So hold on really quick. I'm just making sure his name isn't on here anywhere. Okay, good there, good there. Reports overview, gross volume, net volume from sales. Okay. So I'm just gonna show this to you really quick, and I'm just doing one more quick look just to make sure it's all clear. And he's a really good friend, so like this is all fine. Like I'm not, worried about this in any way. But yeah, so basically right here, just so you can see it, this was his, come on, focus, there we go. This was his journey. Let me angle it for the lighting there. That was his journey since 2019. So basically he sent me this screenshot like after he crossed, $1 million with his stuff. So, so this was, he started, let's see here, what does he say? Or I'm sorry, this is from January of 2021 to September of 2022. Is when this actually went down. So anyway, the idea that I'm trying to express is that if it's done right, and if you have those skill sets, which is why, right? Like me, Roberto, YouTube themselves, the people that make content for YouTube, Brian G. Johnson, Daniel Battelle, Daryl Eves, Tim Schmoyer, Ed over at Film Booth, Nate over at Channel Makers, all the other people that are doing like, cash cow channels, like anybody that helps people with YouTube, you're always going to hear people say, work on your skills. You got to learn how to do the stuff, right? So if you focus on that, and you learn how to do that stuff, and then you also start applying that like, business knowledge to it. Yeah. Like what you can accomplish here is just incredible. But like there's a lot involved, like, in his case, he crossed that $1 million mark, and he's just getting started. He crossed that $1 million mark. But the way he set everything up, my prediction is he'll be at $10 million probably within the next like 2 years, just because just the way his mind works, he's got energy. So he's willing to just, do what it takes to work and like get the stuff done. Like he is not just hanging out, not hardly working, like he's grinding it out. But, as you could see for that screenshot, it's paying off. So the idea there is just work on the skills, right? Because in order to do any of this stuff, like you gotta learn how to make thumbnails, you gotta learn how to make videos that, people enjoy, but you also have to think about your YouTube channel. Like if you're gonna do it full time, you got to think about your YouTube channel and the business aspects of it and what you're going to offer as a business, and how profitable could the type of content that you're making be, that kind of stuff. Because when it comes to making this like your only thing that you're doing, like relying solely on YouTube ads, like you can do great on YouTube ads. You can make tons of money on YouTube ads. So I'm not discounting YouTube ad, like on platform monetization at all. You can make mountains of money from YouTube ads if you're getting a lot of, activity in your videos. But if you build a business around your YouTube channel and you're offering other things, then you can make tons of money without even having to have a lot of views on your content. In fact, my friend that I showed you that screenshot, I think on his YouTube channel, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up his channel. His YouTube channel right now only has 39,000 subscribers on it. So in terms of like, you know, what's possible, 39,000 subscribers. And then you saw the screenshot for what he's generated from 2021 to 2020 to September of 2022. So just use that as inspiration, right? Like it's here. You just got to figure out how to tap into it, right? And you got to develop the skills to make it happen. But anyway, so I want to thank everybody for, you know, hanging out in the stream today. I hope that you learned something. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. I do this every single Saturday. If this is your first time here, do this every single Saturday. So definitely, you know, feel free to swing by, you know, every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Right now, when I hit this end broadcast, my brother and Daniel Batal over on the StreamYard channel doing free channel reviews. And it's super fun. They do it like a game show over there. So as soon as I hit this end broadcast button, it's going to send you over to their stream. So you can go hang out over there and participate. If you want, you know, some advice on your channel specifically, then, you know, it's going to be a great place for you to hang out. So, so head over there and I will see you next weekend at 9 a.m. Eastern. Have an awesome rest of your weekend and I'll see you next time.